line screaming like a siren at night. Red and blue shouting, nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight. Matchsticks flicked in the dead of night. They sell fear, cheap package the lies, while the clock keeps ticking, empires on fire. Can't sit quiet while the world's on edge. Lines in the sand, standing on the ledge. No script, no leash, no polish, quiet. Just a voice in the dark and a spark to the wire. This is and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. Everybody's selling truth like a brand, buying opinions they don't understand. Talking in circles, screaming online. Keyboard courage, borrowed spines. Yeah, power plays dressed up as peace. Same old wolves with different teeth. But silence is loud when the house is burning. And the fuse is short, yeah, it's still learning. I don't dance for the left or the right. I stand in the heat, I stand in the fight. No strings, no chains, no manufactured choir. Just gasoline thoughts and an open lighter. This is and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. World's on tilt, pressure climbing. Truth don't whisper, it's perfect timing. You can't cancel the smoke, you can't stop flame. Say my name when it hits, say my name. Why? Say my name. Say my name. Fire don't ask permission. Fire don't need a side. Fire just shows up honest and exposes the lie. This is and I'll bring the fire. Truth is harder. Burn it down till what's real survives. No smoke, no mirrors, just heat and lies. And I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. America, fire. Strike it. Let it speak.
All right. Good afternoon to everybody. Morning on the West Coast, Mountain Time Central. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to America Fire. I'm Ace. Got so much to get into today. Trump's in China doing crazy stuff. I mean, this entourage he took with him is wild. So it's going to be all kinds of speculation on what's going on over there. I guarantee we're not going to get all the details. There's going to be plenty going on behind the scenes, but we're going to break down what it looks like and what could be expected from this trip and what it means when he took like all the biggest tech CEOs with him in a move I've just never seen before. So we got that. We got Kash Patel in a hearing just absolutely dominating Chris Van Hollen, along with all kinds of other. The media is panicking over John Brennan, James Comey, all this deep state saboteurs being exposed, and finally justice showing up at their door. And then Thomas Massie is in big trouble. Big trouble. The latest polls are out on Massie, and it does not look good for his primary. This affair thing is just it's the last tip pushing him over into an unwinnable position, in my opinion. And Fagaland is freaking out about it. They cannot believe their Lord and Savior of the America First, the real MAGA grift, is being he's about to go down. And they're just not happy about it. And then we got some obvious midterms updates. Some more redistricting has been going on, and wins, baby. So the kind of wins that the media doesn't report, the kind of wins that the grifter tribe, the Podcastistan tribe, doesn't want you to know about, because they have to portray everything negative. So if you're looking to blackpill, this is not the right place for you. You can go blackpill everywhere else. You can go listen to the lies. Listen to the people who've lied to you your entire life. Go to them. Go to your elementary school teachers. Go to your high school. Go to your college professors. Go to your media. Go there. If you want a blackpill, there's plenty spots for you. But this will not be a blackpill place, because we're winning. We are winning bigly. And so we're going to keep focused on the winning and the progression we are making, because it is major, guys, and the world continues to look like it's heading in our direction. Those of us who love this country, who want to get back on track, and honestly better than ever before, is what I believe. So with that said, before we get started, guys, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Support the channel with the little freebies you can do. The like, subscribes, and the hype button if YouTube so graciously enables it for you. And on top of that, we got to say hey to the Chizat. Shout out the peeps willing to show up early and beautifully. We got AZ Tropic over there on Rumble, holding it down by himself in the chat so far. I'm sure a few others will join in, but good to see you there over there, buddy. And then here on YouTube, I have Kasink numero uno today, Jen Maga. We got Chamara, Wago Waco, Job for 9, Tammy Anderson, Scott Volkovich, Shogun, please don't laugh. Finally, he says. Pat M, Mark Maddox, Ryan Edberg's here, Kika, Jesus Saves, Demand Wainwright, sorry, I said that wrong, Jay Gomez, Linda Goya, Oki Sooner, David 83638. I love the numbers. There's just thank you, YouTube. I just want to tell you thank you for taking away everybody's names and putting up a bunch of numbers. It's really been great for those of us trying to keep track of everybody. Aiden Scotland, Miss Titan Fan, AC USA, what's going on? Steve Byron, Jeff Jingles, Jay Tyrus, Saved by Grace, Christina, Texas Outlook, Kim Trump, Chris Godshaw, and New Moms over here, Mark Maddox, and so many others that I just can't read. I'll be reading forever. Although I do have Nels over there on Rumble. I'll shout you out since Rumble is chilling right now. And then we got a super chat already from Michael McDonald for $2. Thank you, Mr. Michael McDonald. He says, I love Lamp. Hallelujah. Well, you know, you'll fit in well in the Anchorman tribe. So, or Hakuna Matata. I said hallelujah. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, good to see you guys. No notification today. Sorry about that. I'm also sorry I didn't get it scheduled ahead of time. That's obnoxious, but I was working on it to the last minute, getting it all together here. So we have Angela, good morning from Southern California. Steve says, I'm sure where, but Massey's affair correlates with the MMTLP community. Yeah, I got a story about that. So I realized as I was doing my research that Cynthia, the woman making the allegations, this is, I probably should save this for the Massey segment, but you know what? We'll give it a little preview ahead of time. So the woman making the allegations she goes by Syntax on X, and she is in the MMTLP community. And I have talked to this woman before. I have talked to her on space calls back when I was doing more in the stock community. And I got to say that one time in a discussion with her in a chat room with a group of people on X, Thomas Massie was brought up. And I remember saying that Thomas Massie is not a good person, and she dated him. And this was about 15 months ago, maybe a year and a half ago, which actually lines up exactly with when he was still single in that time. So crazy, remembering that. And I always remember that somebody had known him and dated him and said it wasn't good, but I didn't put it together that it was her, the same person, coming out now. So I can tell you from a personal experience, even before this blew up, there were she was going around saying that she did not think he was a good person from dating him. So I can't say anything else. I can't say I witnessed anything like that. But I can tell you I have personal connection, very small personal connection, but a personal connection to Massie's accuser, which is wild. And it just made me realize, holy cow, we have the X community and everything is really, really made the world smaller. Let me say that. So absolutely crazy. Job for 9 with a $5 super chat says, keep up the great job. Shout out to the chat Discord members. Amen, brother. Shout out to the members. They are awesome. The best community on the internet is really cool. So, glad you guys are here, and thank you for supporting the channel. We got so much to get in today, which I know I say every day, but I can't help it. Every day it's true. Every day it's true. I show up thinking I'm going to do an hour and a half, 2-hour show, and then I end up going 2.5 hours, 3 hours almost. And it's just because there's so much to get into. And also because I love the chat. I love to get in here and talk to you guys. So let me just make sure I'm not missing anything before we get started. I don't look tired anymore since you. I'm not. It's amazing what rest can do. For those who don't know, I used to do this show at night. And if you're new watching, I used to do this show literally most nights between 10:30 and 11:30 is when I got started most of the time. And that was after working full time and hanging out with my 6 kids and my wife. And I still I believe in what I'm doing. So I kept doing it. I love this community. So I kept showing up, but I was tired, man. I was sleeping like 5, maybe 6 hours a night sometimes, but usually 4 to 5 hours for almost 3.5 years, and just try to catch up on the weekends. And starting to get rested, and it's awesome. Hoping it continues. And because of that, the show just gets better and better and better. Varen Bonnie BZ real quick asks, what's gold's place in Trump's new Hamilton-McKinley economic monetary system? We don't know yet. I'll just be honest. We don't know yet. There's a lot of speculation. I can tell you it's important because he's been bringing it in, Trump has been stockpiling our gold. We had a bunch brought over to us when Trump first got into office. So, I think it's yet to be revealed. I'll be honest. You've been advertising me on Matt Morris. That's awesome. I appreciate that. So MFN has been going to bed before midnight now. Love the new time slot. Love it. Okay, so for those who don't know the rules, chat room. We love the chat room, right? The community is amazing. So, but I got to tell you, it's amazing. One of the reasons it's amazing is because we don't abide by trolls. So the trolls are not allowed. I have moderators. They will kick you out if they feel like you are being a jerk, or if you're just trying to promote something crappy. We clean this chat room up, and that, my friend, is why the chat room here is awesome. The community is awesome because the people here are legit. Doesn't mean you have to believe in it all. Doesn't mean you have to agree with me, but you do have to be honorable, respectful, and just listen to your mama's advice, okay? If you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all. All right, just be a good part of the community. And if you do so, the chat is amazing. So guys, blow up the chat. If you want to hit to me, questions, comments, tag me. I'll do my best to find it. If I can't find it because the chat's blowing up and people are going nuts in it, which is always welcome and appreciated. Love when the chat's going for it. But if you don't get through to me, the super chat is always guaranteed. I can always read the super chat because I can sort by it. So that is guaranteed. So, Nels, you're race banned on Discord. I never knew that. That's good to know. All right. But we should get into it. Let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about. So let's start here. Trump in China getting the red carpet, quite literally. Well, everything's red in China, so. But the commie carpet, you could call it, in China. But so Trump entering China with all these CEOs, and let's just watch as they made quite a big deal for him. it's always fascinating to me how these countries really do go nuts for Trump when he arrives. So we have Trump landing in Beijing, China with this reception. Joining him, Tim Cook, who just stepped down. He took Larry Fink with him, which I find very interesting. I know Trump and Fink do not get along. We got Blackstone's CEO, Boeing, Cargill, Jane Fraser of Citi, Chuck Robbins from Cisco, Jim Anderson from Coherent, GE Aerospace, Lawrence Kolb, Goldman Sachs, Illumina. These are all the CEOs. I'm reading the companies because a lot of these names aren't well known. We got Meta, not Zuckerberg, which is interesting. Micron, Nvidia, which is Jensen Huang. You got Elon's with him, Qualcomm, and Visa. These are some of the biggest CEOs of some of the biggest companies in the world for tech and finance. Really interesting. Why? I mean, you can look at this several ways. A, they're going to be bringing these guys in to basically tell them how it's going to be going forward. You could be bringing them in for expertise, although I don't really think Trump cares that much about these guys, what they're bringing to the table and what their ideas are and everything. But the other thing that I've heard kind of pushed around is this a flex? And let's talk about that here in a second. Like, how is he flexing here? So it says Trump is already going into the meeting with an antagonistic posture, bringing the leaders of the American AI industry as a slap in the face. China has no counterparts to bring, and they know it. Resting your gold medals on the table during the dinner with the guy who won silver. We've been talking about how China's economy is just nowhere near where they say it is. They are just nowhere near the competitor we were promised. We were told that they were, competing with us. We couldn't, we couldn't stay ahead of them. They were catching up to us quick. By 2030, they were going to surpass us. And yet, that's nowhere near close to truth. They're at like 60% of our economy, and they're fading fast. They're going backwards while we are increasing significantly. That's the kind of stuff nobody talks about, right? How much that actually matters. When you're talking about the decline of the U.S., how bad things have gotten, which are true. And if the Obama elites with, the Biden era, if it had been able to continue with Kamala Harris and so on and so forth, and we had fully integrated into this globalist cabal City of London system, it absolutely would have happened. Because they would have kept degrading us, using our resources, using our finances, using our military for their purposes to lift them up, while the middle class here continued dying, and we became just more and more of a poverty-ridden service economy with an elite class and basically the communist structure. Okay, that's what they wanted to do, bleed us dry. And China was going to keep rising to some extent because they wouldn't have been challenged in the same way. But the EU and the globalist type, those are the ones who are really going to thrive if it all had turned out the way they wanted. That's not happening anymore. Trump has reversed this very quickly. And he's, by using the full might of not just our military, but everything, our industry, our tech capabilities, our financial capabilities, all of that. So what's he do? He goes to China, which I can't remember the last time a president went to China, at least not with this kind of fanfare, and just basically flops the nuts on the table, right? Just here, I'm bringing the crew with me. Everybody that competes with you guys, everybody that, some of them work with them, Apple, but Trump's been slapping the tariffs on them. So Apple's been moving some of their stuff to India and some of it at home, they say. We'll see if that actually pans out. But the point is that he took all of them, even the ones he doesn't like, even the ones he flat out hates, like Larry Fink, is like, this is the might of America. Like our powerhouse is financial, how we are so far ahead of you guys. And he's bringing them to this meeting. I don't know. I just find that fascinating. MJ Truth has a little more on this. Why are all these CEOs in China with Trump and Xi Jinping? What they're reportedly discussing. Trade deals and big Chinese purchase commitments, aircraft, soybeans, etc. Easing restrictions on U.S. tech exports, especially AI chips. Better market access for American companies in China, which, we'll see. I find that one interesting. But Trump is getting that investment. But some of these people he's already kind of handcuffed, right? He's called them out. He's put restrictions on them. He's tariffed to force them away from like their manufacturing in China and their investments. He's with Blackstone and BlackRock specifically. He's trying to pull them out of the housing industry. So a lot of Trump's policies have hurt these companies and made them pull back from basically gouging us, taking advantage of the people. And so to take them there, I don't know. That's just interesting to me. Investment opportunities, supply chain stability, overall framework to reduce tensions and boost business. Now, I do agree with this. Reduce tensions and boost business. But I also think what Trump's doing is he's going there and saying, you guys have stolen from us for years. Stolen from us. And the freebie days are over. And I know that China, because, you know, every time I go into the City of London stuff, how they're our greatest enemy, I inevitably get the response, no, it's actually China. You know, the Steve Bannon crowd, they all like, they just are so China hyper-focused. No, it's all China. And I mean, they're not wrong, except they have the order flipped. City of London, the globalists, the cabal, Davos, they are the ones who made it so we let China in. Okay? We, like right now, Kash Patel, the other day on Hannity, talking about all these Chinese in our government. That tells you they know it. That tells you we have them monitored. So if we had them monitored the whole time, they weren't just sneakily getting in, they were being let in. Under Obama's watch. I mean, you can go back to the Clintons getting busted for selling secrets to the Chinese. So you got the Clintons, probably under the Bush administration too. We've heard a little bit less from that, but it's just been going on forever. All right. Definitely the Obama administration, definitely the Biden administration, just letting them in. And there's a reason for that, because by letting China in, the globalists, what they were allowing to do, Davos and China, they don't get along. They are rivals as well. City of London does not have, you know, they're not getting along with Xi Jinping and them, which is one of the reasons why China has been a little bit more, they've played along with Trump a little bit more than, say, other presidents. Okay, they've just always had this rivalry with the U.S., and China will do anything it can to gain more power. Meanwhile, Trump's basically exposed them as this paper tiger militarily and financially. As far as like being an actual rival to us. But regardless, they will do whatever they can to keep growing. And this global cabal has let them in. The puppeteers of Obama, the deep state in America has let them in. Why? Because it weakened us. And that was the whole point all along. Let's break America up. Let's let it fall apart. Let's let it get sucked dry so that it collapses at some point. So that, you know, it falls apart. It's easier for us to have power over. And so it was all allowed. And at this point, I think it's obvious. But Trump's over there now and is like, you guys owe us. Let's figure this out. You guys, you know what? We're not going to stop you from being China. I don't want to take you over. I don't want to actually like make things worse between us. But what I also am not going to do, you're not going to steal from us anymore. You're not going to take Taiwan. You're not, you know, we're not going to play these games anymore. I'm tired of you guys taking advantage of us. So let's set the record straight. How about we just meet each other as equals, equal ground. You know, Trump, he's a deal maker. That's what he wants. So that's where it will reduce tensions. And then I have a feeling like the boost business part is he's looking to get a little bit back from what they've stolen from us. Now, in England today, King Charles announced digital ID. And this post says, I couldn't help but notice all the players that we necessary to do this are literally there. Roughly half the group is centered on AI, chips, networking, data, digital payments, smart tech, EVs, autonomous driving. This trip also heavily emphasizes digital economy alongside traditional trade. Tech and semiconductors, AI, biggest group, NVIDIA, Qualcomm, Micron, Apple, blah, blah, blah. Finance and digital payments, BlackRock, Blackstone, Goldman Sachs, Citi, Visa, MasterCard, and then aerospace engineering. Boeing, GE Aerospace, agriculture, Cargill, shared focus. So really touches on a lot of our industries. It says this is a historic meeting. This meeting will change the face of global trade and digital world for a millennia. Again, timing is everything. Speaking of Steve Bannon, he always says, I don't believe in coincidences. Well, I don't either. And so why is the UK moving forward on stuff like this at the same time Trump's going over there? They're frightened over here on the EU side of things. They're frightened because what Trump is doing, just like he did in the Middle East, which everybody said was impossible, right? You can never bring peace to the Middle East. These countries hate us. These countries hate Israel. They'll never stop. And yet, whether they still hate us or not, whether they still hate Israel or not, Trump's made deals with all of the Middle East pretty much except for Iran. Pretty much they're all in at this point. Most of them have signed the Abraham Accords. We have deals with almost all of them. And remember, Trump had that momentous trip out there last year, signing all the trade deals. And now we're basically trade partners or economic allies with all these countries in the Middle East. And the Middle East, other than Iran, has been pretty tame since Trump went in all the way back in 2017, 2018 and started this whole venture. I was always told it was impossible. And that really, really hurts the whole globalist plans, their 2030 Great Reset. Well, you know what hurts it even more? If we get this figured out with China. Because if China and us are all of a sudden getting along, even though they're still communists, they're still human rights violators, there's still a bunch of awful stuff about China, but Trump's like, you know what? We're going to focus on what we can get along with. And you guys are going to stay out of it, and we're going to stay over here, and we'll leave each other alone and get along on this. And that's what Trump wants to do. Trump truly believes that by rebuilding economies, rebuilding relationships, bringing peace to the world, that ultimately is what is going to make people take back their countries. That's what he believes. And so far, he's been mostly proven right. Not war, not planting our military there and forcing them to become a democracy or republic. That's not Trump's style, and he's been proven right in many ways so far. So that's what he wants to do with China. And I believe this is what that's really about. It doesn't mean he's not being tough, but so what they're doing is they're doubling down on their citizens at the same time. And I just can't help but, notice that timing there. Tom Luongo talking about this right here, where we are about to, Trump is going to submit 6 months written notice on July 1st to exit the USMCA. After out of the USMCA, items listed will no longer be protected from tariffs. I suspect Trump will crank tariffs to the moon on Canadian goods. So this is the US, Mexico, Canada agreement. Suspect Trump will crank tariffs to the moon on Canadian goods, pricing Canada completely out of the U.S. market. Market Canada depends on to purchase 70 to 80% of its exports. Of course, there'll be carve-outs for Americans. Won't be longer after this event. Canada's economy will collapse. Why would Trump do all this at the same time he's going to China? Be planning on this. Because Canada is the EU rep, the City of London, Davos rep here in still the Western Hemisphere. It's time to make Canada stop being Canada. And I don't mean hockey. I don't mean Canadian whiskey, Canadian beer, Canadian, maple syrup, all the great stuff about Canada. We love all that. What we don't like is this EU system that is constantly looking to undermine the U.S. at every opportunity, take advantage of our trade, take advantage of our northern border, bringing in nonstop, like they are trying to just wipe out the entire white population of Canada, the original population of Canada by bringing in Indians like you wouldn't believe. The H-1Bs we have here are nothing compared to the importing they're doing up there. They are replacing their entire population. And it's ugly, and they're doubling down. Trudeau was bad. Carney is worse, and Carney was a banker with the EU. It tells you all you need to know. So Trump working on this, and as Tom Luongo breaks it down, the odds of this happening increase if he gets an ARC favorable outcome to talks with China. ARC being America, Russia, China, because we're really the only three major powers in the world left that have major financial systems that can stand on their own sovereignty, the resources that can go out to the world and remain. China needs a little bit more imports than Russia or America, but still the massive country with land and the military capability to be stronger than most other countries. It's America, Russia, and China. It is. That's us. And if the three of us are getting along, the rest of the world is mostly going to be at peace. There's going to be little skirmishes, but that's the triangle right there. You get those three getting along, trading with each other, figuring it out, and maybe someday Europe will rejoin the party, but they have priced themselves out. They have killed their industry. They've killed their manufacturing. They've killed their military. They've taken themselves out of the game, except for the financial system, which they've used to control everything in the shadows. But that's ending. So Trump is building the real bridges that matter. And he says the odds of this happening increase if he gets this outcome to talk to China. Remember, however, nothing Trump does with Xi will be spun as a victory. If Iran has taught you nothing else, it's this. Watch cross-market action, how that lines up with Trump's actions with or to our Canadian partners. He's absolutely right. No matter what happens in China, we're going to get a terrible bunch of a spin on it. They just can't let him have a win. So what is going to be said if we get a deal with China, which, we can't fully trust China. But that's the thing is with Trump, he forces them to play along with the tariffs, the games. He's the only president who's ever fought back to their chicanery, their willingness to steal and lie and cheat. He's willing to force them to face repercussions from that. He took away a lot of their access in Venezuela. China was using Venezuela for oil and had a strategic positioning there. That's why Venezuela had a bunch of Chinese weapons, military weapons, and even like the anti-aircraft that we just pummeled right through. Same with Iran. Trump is cutting off all of China's the Belt and Road Initiative. He's cutting off these areas that gave China a little bit of an upper hand because they would do business with the places we wanted, right? The places taken over by authoritarians, the places taken over by communists. China's like, we don't care. We'll come in and just get their stuff for cheap. Trump's cutting all that off. So there's been consequences for China. And that's just, they've never seen that before. So this is how we can hold them to a deal. So we'll see how that plays out. Now, this is how's this impacting Iran and the rest of the world? Well, again, it all comes down to what Trump did in Iran. And this is part of the reason he's in China right now with more leverage than ever before. Because Iran was giving China their oil at 90% cheaper, 90% off market prices, wholesale, because who else were they selling to? They didn't really have many other opportunities. So now the Financial Times, which is a hardcore left-wing paper, is having to admit some of the repercussions this is having on, we talked about a little bit yesterday, like places like China and India. When oil prices corrected in early April following the U.S.-Iran ceasefire agreement, foreign investors did not use the opportunity to re-enter India. It's over. India's finished as an economic power. Even if the Strait's open tomorrow, investors aren't coming back. This is how Trump is using Iran to reorder the system. And as Luongo reports, when the Financial Times reports this openly, again, means more than it says on the surface. While EMs are doing well in general, India has seen a huge capital outflows because real investors know the old world of playing both sides for London's over. And then he talks about what Turkey's looking to do next. EU has been using India as a proxy. They were using Iran as a proxy. China was taking its advantage of all this, and that's all just being cut off. So why do they hate the Iran war so much? This is one thing. First war that Europe didn't join us in. First war they didn't send NATO to. First war UK didn't join us in. We have the American public because of the media. See, every time we went to war before, the public, because the media would report it positively, the public would be up for it at first because they trusted our government. They trusted our presidents to be at least like, whether we get along or not, when it comes to national defense, national security, we're just going to try to believe that at least this might turn into something good. So it would always start that way. And most military conflicts would start with 80% approval, 70% approval, but it'd be very high. It would cross boundary lines of Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Independent. This was the first one where it's only been one side that supports it, and that's the side that trusts Trump. And one of the reasons for that is the media from the beginning has been critical. You have the MAGA grifters. They all go out against it, which that's even crazier because they all were supposed to be people who trusted Trump. So you have them not even give him a chance on this. Even after the success of Venezuela, they don't even give him a chance in Iran to prove it's worthwhile. And then he'll still hold to his promise of no stupid wars, no forever wars. You have the media, which is always against it. So you have the first time ever we go into a major conflict like this without support. That's even at least like at the initial outset. Why? I mean, it makes so much sense when you look at it through this lens that this is actually the end of their system, the end of their good times. It's finally putting the rest of the world on that their back foot. They're backpedaling now. They cannot let this end well. And that's why we get nonstop coverage. Even on Two-Way this morning, which, I enjoy the show Two-Way. Mark Halperin, he's obviously a lib, but he is, even though he tries to play it in the middle. But he does a good job of trying to like allow both sides to speak their piece. But he is just now harping on Iran, how it's a mess. And all he quotes is Republicans who say it's a mess and, how he cherry picks. And so even in like the moderate media, they are going there. So you have all the podcast-to-stand grifters going against it. You have obviously the left-wing media they didn't even give it a chance. And now you even have the people who are kind of like trying to pretend to be honest and impartial. Even they're trying to make it. And this is what's crazy. They were likening it to Vietnam today. Likening it to Vietnam when Vietnam lasted years before people were like, this is a problem. We've been there 2 months. 2 months. And for the last month, there's barely been even any fighting. It's not like Americans are coming home in body bags every day. This is absolutely crazy to be making such a big deal of it in a negative light already, especially when it looks like it's coming to the end. Jesse Waters reported last night that the Pentagon has a plan to escalate the Iran war called Project Sledgehammer. Top secret nuclear submarines were just deployed that shoots missiles at targets 4,500 miles away. Now, just because they're nuclear submarines doesn't mean they're launching nukes. Okay, guys, just in case that scared you, don't worry. Trump is not going to launch nukes. Trump hates nukes. He hates the idea of them. He only keeps them because other people have them. But Saudi Arabia and UAE are conducting strikes on Iran, which we knew, and now we knew a UAE, but Saudi Arabia is now being reported as doing so. And Trump's en route to China, while Rubio's wearing the Maduro outfit on Air Force One. I would play this clip, but it's 8 minutes long, and I don't want to sit through 8 minutes. But this is very interesting, how this all coming together. Trump, the submarines you can't track, not our submarines, especially not with the capabilities Iran has. But you got to know they're packing some heat. I have a feeling that this has been being plotted for several weeks. And what Trump did is he gave it the last moment for Iran to finally give one last middle finger to the deals Trump's trying to put out, and then it's on. It's on. And then the fact that Saudi Arabia and UAE, he allowed them to start the escalation right now, that's very interesting to me, because that means now this is a war the entire Gulf is a part of and supporting. Now we get to look like we're just providing the backup. Let them do their troops. Let them bring people in. Let them maybe get the weapons to the protesters. I don't know what it's going to look like. But it's very interesting. And then of course Rubio wearing the Maduro outfit, which is just hilarious. As basically a reminder of what we've already pulled off. Let me see if I can get to where it shows him in it. Rubio is hilarious, by the way. But that's signal. Because what did we do in Venezuela? It just ended. There it is. It ended so well and so quickly. And it also was so emphatic. Done and out. Remind the world what you're doing. And on top of that, Trump's now posting Venezuela as the 51st state, which is much more likely to be Alberta, let's be honest. But this is absolutely hilarious that he keeps trolling all these countries like this and trolling the world, honestly, because he's making everybody wonder, because there are people who legitimately think he's a dictator and crazy enough to do stuff like this. So why not just keep enforcing their insane beliefs? Why not? But again, what I keep coming back to, guys, is that these moves Trump's making, bringing in all these guys, where's the, oh, my bad, I lost it. Let me get back to here. Bringing in all these guys, flopping the nuts on the table, showing your hand, while also getting ready to escalate in Iran. What if he attacks while in China? What a flex that would be. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I can tell you, to me, this looks like Trump has all the cards, just as he says. And everybody out there freaking out and the pressure ramping on that, the noise getting louder is a sign to me that this is not only going to end soon, but it's going to end very well for Trump and all involved for the U.S. So I, for one, I'm really excited. I can't wait till it ends, because I think what we're going to see afterwards, when oil prices go down, that's when it's going to get really, really fun. And I don't think we're far off. All right. If you guys don't mind, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thank you for watching. Let me get into the chat for a few minutes here before going on to the next segment. We got a lot more coming up. Next, we're going to talk about Thomas Massie and what's going on there. And we're going to bring back our favorite here as Ami mocks Megyn Kelly. So that we'll have a good laugh here in a minute as a tease. But yeah, hit the like, hit the subscribe. We're about to get there. Let me see if I've missed anything while I take a swig of my coffee. Can I handle sampling craft beers at noon? I don't know, man. That's going to be that could be a problem. That could be a problem. Maybe someday. Maybe someday I'll bring out a couple. Well, actually, that would be better as a members live. We could all sample together. Okay. Let me see here. Trump gets the red carpet. Obama got the back bus door. Trick to sleeping, buy an awful book. That's interesting. Let me get down to the more. Here we go. China doesn't think in 4-year terms. They're patient. They think in 100-year slots, says WAP 3605. You're 100% right. You know who also thinks in terms like that? The communists here at home. It's how they got so much power in the first place. They went from they started infiltrating in like the 20s, right? 20s and 30s. And it started ramping up. We fought it back a little bit during World War II, and then it started ramping up again during the 50s, which is why we had McCarthyism, which McCarthy was a patriot. He was really, really, his history has been slandered because he did some tough stuff, but he also, the liberals hate him. The liberals hate him. And they drove him at the time to drinking and to depression, and he died early. So it's, his story is a sad story as well. But McCarthy helped weed out a ton of communists, but they were always thinking long term. This is how liberals think. This is why libertarians are so stupid. And I don't, again, not if you're a libertarian. I mean the libertarians at the top, which gets me so upset with them, because it's always everything all at once. It's like, we don't get it now, we're done. Or anybody right now who's like, well, Trump didn't already fix the economy. Trump didn't already arrest everybody. We're done with him. Well, you were either always a fool, a grifter with him, or you're just kind of stupid about how stuff works. It takes time. Change takes time. The communists know this. The liberals know this. They're like, okay, if we all become teachers, then in 50 years, we'll have indoctrinated every child that goes through our system. We'll become 90 to 95% of the teaching block in America. We'll take over the universities. We'll get into psychiatry. And so everybody who wants, to therapy is going to be coerced into commie principles and feminism. That's how they think. They think long term. And they know, a lot of them know, like, my life might not see this. Okay, but I'm going to be a part of the movement. I'm going to be a part of pushing it forward. The problem in our country with most good people and that actually want good things, they don't have that patience. We've lost it at some point. I don't know why. I think part of it had to be with Christians in the West believing in an end times theology that's completely hopeless about the world. And it's just like, well, if things get better or if things get worse, Jesus comes back. So we have no incentive to make things better, which is just insanity. But that's what many of them believe. And so it takes them out of public life. It takes them out of politics. We were all taught, like, don't talk religion and politics at the table. So we stopped having real conversations about the stuff that actually makes the world move. That kind of stuff is very harmful over time. And, it brings us to a place where we just stay put while we watch the world burn. And I'm sorry, I'm not a part of that. I refuse to be a part of that. But too many good people bought into that. And so they just sit back and complain all day. Look at what's happening. This is gross. I never saw this in my time. And it's like, well, what did you do about it? I didn't do anything. I just worked my job and, took care of my family. And I'm like, well, those are honorable things. Those are very good things. You should have done that. But what did you do to advance society? What did you do to advance community? Did you mentor anybody? Did you serve your city, even for just a couple years? Well, no, I want to be a part of that. Well, okay. Well, because you aren't a part of that, it's the other, the other whole thing. I grew up in the church, and I'm a Christian still, but I have a lot of criticisms of the church I love in America. And one of the other things of growing up in the church was this whole idea of you just stay away from that. It's all corrupt. Okay. So who's going to fix it then? It's like, if every good person doesn't go into government because it's corrupt, well, then it's always going to stay corrupt and get worse. If every good person doesn't go into entertainment because it's corrupt and evil, well, it's going to stay that way. Because there's no, okay, fine. Maybe make an alternative if you can. That's great. At least you're trying something. But if you're not trying to be a part of fixing anything, you're just allowing it to get worse. And so I say this all the time. We are the majority in this country. We are. We're, 65, 70% of us are common sense people, mostly people of faith, mostly people of community and family oriented. Don't like all the insanity we're seeing. But the problem is we, well, let's put it this way. It happened on our watch. So all this stuff you don't like happening in our country is our fault. Take responsibility. It is, because if the majority acts, if the majority stays involved, we can't lose. And that's what Trump has started to show us. Trump has started to reveal to us what happens when we come together and fight back. And we're realizing, because decades and decades of staying out of everything, well, then they took over TV and they took over the movies and they took over the news. They took over radio. So everything we're inundated with, they took over the internet. Everything we're inundated with is they run everything. There's no hope. Well, yeah, there is, because the truth is it's only 15 to 20% of the population who controls all these things now, spouting at us. It's because good people didn't fight back. But now we have a fighter. People are, I get people all the time like, how could you love Trump so much? He's a despicable human being. He's had 3 marriages and affairs and, he said terrible things. And I'm like, yeah, he did all that. But he's also the only person in my lifetime who's actually fought for my values, who's actually fought for a vision of America I want. And he's also the only one, not only is he the only one who's really fought for it, he's the only one who is winning and bringing that about. So yeah, I love the man. I absolutely love Donald Trump. I've never met him. I love him. I'm not afraid to say it. He's a great man, and he's going to go down as one of the great leaders in history, and I am excited to be here for this because nobody else fought. Nobody else did it. And so somebody did, okay? And that's all I care about. You know, I care about somebody's actually fighting for it, and you know what? Along the way, he's becoming a better person, I believe. I believe in the last 10 years, I've seen a lot of growth in him personally. So he becomes a better person along the way while also fighting for everything I want for my country. Heck yeah, dude, I'm in. I'm so in. So yeah, that's all I got to say as far as that goes. But it happened on our watch. So the question is, are we just going to let Trump keep fighting for us? And then once he's gone, be like, go back to the normal and be like, he did it. We're going to sit down. We're going to take it easy now. Like, now I don't want to be a part of this stuff anymore. Or are you going to recognize that you have a part to play? We all have a part to play. You want to rest, take it easy in this life. Well, then you're going to get what comes to you. It's like, go to the ant, you sluggard, in the Bible. Like, you can't, this is a hard world. It's a rough world. There's corruption everywhere. There's evil everywhere. But there's more good. It's just the good people don't always stand up. So if everybody does, we cannot go backwards. And so that's thinking long term, just like all the way back to that comment that started this rant. The Chinese think in those terms, and and evil thinks in those terms. Communists think in those terms. The liberal, like the left, far left, thinks in those terms. They're like, we'll just do our part and we'll get there. We need that back on our side. We used to have it. Think about people who built cathedrals in Europe. 400 years is how long it took to build some of those. Some of them even longer. You think the original architect was like, well, man, I don't have the manpower or the machinery to finish this, so I give up. I'm not even going to do it. I don't get to enjoy the spoils of my work. Screw it. No, they were like, I'm going to lay the first brick. I'm going to lay the cornerstone. I'm going to get this started. Here's the plans. And they knew they were probably going to die while it was going on. And they went to the next person and the next person, and they just celebrated the progress. And most of them thought they were doing it to the Lord. They were just like, this is glory of God. We're building these things. Well, we lost that along the way because now we're in this microwave culture where you're just like, I want food. I will press a button. I want, pleasure. I'll press a button. I want to talk to somebody. I'll press a button. Took all effort out of it. And now, like, we just have no understanding of how long it takes to build what's worth it. And hopefully we're getting that back. Trader Grows with a $10 super chat says, appreciate your work, brother. Excited to see the full-time endeavor. Wishing you the grace of success. Never get tired of winning. Amen, my friend. Thank you so much. I appreciate that super chat. I really do. Okay, I ranted for a minute there, and I missed a lot of comments here. So let's see here. Kinder, you lost 2 family homes since working, about to lose 2 more of them. The quip, everything I worked for, that's a lie. I'm sorry, Kinder. I don't quite understand your situation, but thank you, Don. I appreciate your kind words. See, Courtney, Stephen Kuhn has a website called Take America Back. 300,000 seats available across America. If we fill them, we control the government. That is amazing. I'll have to check that out. Somehow I hadn't heard about that. Let's see. Democrats love Trump too until he came down the escalator. Well, that's true. Punchcat says Trump awakened most. Reagan tried but was assassinated. Never was the same. Didn't do anything against the WEF globalists. Reagan was a good man, and I think he had a lot he wanted to do. But yeah, he got shot, and I just think he got discouraged from believing how much power he could wield. I do. And to be fair to Reagan, maybe without the internet and everything, he couldn't awaken people the way he wanted to, and he couldn't produce a movement like Trump could. Trump's been able to run this movement partly because of the internet. And if it wasn't for the internet, of us all being able to share this information, what they call digital warriors, it wouldn't be as strong. MAGA wouldn't be as strong as it is. So that Reagan had to deal in a tougher time to do an awakening as well. Okay. Anything else here? Don says feminism has made so many men weak. They act like pansies in hope of a good treatment for women in their lives. Pathetic. I totally agree with you. I mean, I'll rant about this for a second. One of my this is one of my big issues in not just America, but it also in the church, is the feminization of men. We feminized Christianity too. We really did. We tried to be so soft and tender, which those are aspects of Jesus, right? But he also was tough as nails, and he was super masculine. So we leave that part out, right? And so church men have become weak. Not all of them, obviously, and but a whole good part of them in culture has been weak, and it's been like, don't embrace the fighting side. Like even at God bless my school where my kids go. But they are really tough on the boys there. And I'm like, dude, let the boys tumble, let them be energetic. That's boy energy. That's testosterone, baby, but we've just totally been tough on boys. We really have. And we've tried to tell them that like this whole idea of like being stoic is manly. No, it's not. Men are supposed to be emotional, but not the same way as women. We are, we control our emotions, but we still are emotional. We understand it. Like that's part of being a man, is like that, men get stuff done from anger. Like the Bible never says anger is bad. It says just don't sin in your anger. So how can you channel that masculine fight, that masculine, drive? How can you channel it? Don't put it out to pasture. Don't tell boys it's wrong. Tell them how to do it healthy. And if a guy wants to kill somebody and he can't because that's bad, well then go out into a punching bag or go run or go build something. Get that energy out. That's healthy though. It teaches you how to be productive with it. And and so I'm just like, but we've told boys it's bad. We've told them that they're being bad, and we try to make them more like girls. This is ridiculous. So, and we've done it in the church too, and it makes me sick. It makes me sick. Let men be men, and if the men are men, the women will be safe to be women, and we won't have to have women try to be men, which is pathetic. And it comes back to like these. I meet a lot of boys who are very overwhelmed by the women these days. They're getting in the dating pool and they're like, these girls, man. I'm like, boys, you don't understand. If you're a masculine dude, they won't be able to resist you. So stop whining, stop blaming the girls, and you be you and lead like a man, and you'll find a good woman. They will be attracted to you. What gets liberalism out of women real quick? Masculine men. I'm just being honest. Women don't, most of them deep down, they don't want to be feminists. They do it because they're indoctrinated that that's what they're supposed to be. And then they see all these weak men who are pandering to them, and they're just like, oh, like maybe I'm onto something. Maybe this is the way. And they listen to their stupid podcasts and crap. Go to terrible therapists, which like therapy can be useful, but most therapists are hardcore liberals trying to convince you that all the evil stuff. But if you're a man, you're a real man, the women can't help it. Like, and I'm not saying women are weak. I'm not saying they're dumb at all. I'm saying that's the nature. Nature is more powerful, in this deep part of our bodies. It's just like a man cannot not like want to be a man around a really feminine woman. So it does go both ways. I'm not picking on women here. Okay. I'm not picking on women, but but where feminine, not feminine, but feminist women chase masculine guys away. They don't want to deal with it, you know? So it's like, I tell the men, stop worrying about what the women are doing and just learn how to be a man. And if you learn how to be a man, the rest will mostly work itself out. You'll grow more successful. You'll meet a good woman, you know, like, but stop worrying about all this stuff. It's crazy. You have to, like, we have to, and this is honestly one of my big things in life is I had to learn that. And I had a lot of good stuff. Like I was like 70% there on the growing into a man part. But that 30% was really weak and was still stuck in boyhood. And a lot of it was because of trying to be good in the church. And that 30%, man, was killing my wife and our relationship. And I was just like, but I thought I was listening to all the good advice, you know? And, anyways, like I almost lost my marriage because after years and years, it was just way too tough on my wife. A lot of the stuff I was putting her through. And I got to the point I was like, I listened to her and I was like, you're right. I need to figure something out. And so I went outside the church, found a group that a friend of mine had known that was very masculine, helped men kind of grow up. And man, I'd learned some stuff there and it changed my life. And now I am unapologetically masculine. I am unapologetically who I'm going to be. It might rub you raw. It might, you know, I don't care about being nice anymore. The whole nice guy shtick is for lack of a better term, it's a psyop to demasculine men, because masculine men are the greatest like threat to authoritarianism and liberal culture, leftist culture. So be men. And so there's a big part of me that wants to help men become men. There's too many. If they're addicted to porn, they're a little boy. There's a little boy inside there. If they're always complaining about life, they're a little boy. If they're not taking agency and responsibility for their life, there's a little boy in there. If they're complaining about women, there's a little boy in there. That little boy needs to grow up. Grow the F up. You know? And so like I just see this all the time. And part of it's the problem with it started with the fathers not raising the boys, but we're not called to be nice, guys. You know, we're not. Every great leader wasn't nice. You can be nice to people, but you know, there's a reason I ban people on here if they're jerks. I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. Get out of here. Like, you're a waste of my space and energy. So I'm going to kick you out. You know, like, I don't care. I'm going to run this exactly how I want to, because that's, you know, this is my place. This is my spot. This is my community I'm building. If you don't like it, get out. Like, all I care about is being a good man, a good husband, a good father. That's all I care about. And if you're not a part of me on that journey, if you're not on the same journey I'm on, I don't want you here. Go. You know, just get out. And like, and that goes, you know, like the women, like I love, like, and respect women. They are amazing, but you know, they're different, and that's great. Let's all be different together and grow together. But I'd have no desire to pander. I have no desire to be feminine to get along. I just don't. You know, it's like, we're just going to be who we are. People get mad at me because I say stuff that they find offensive. And I'm just like, I don't give a F what you think. I really don't. I did the work. I have a reason I think what I think. Now, if you're going to come to me nicely and be like, hey, why did you say this? Or I don't understand. Or I have evidence that, you know, you might want to see that kind of might change your mind. I'm like, cool, let's have a conversation, because I do want to grow. I always want to get better. But if you're just going to criticize me and attack me, I'm like, get out of here. You know, get out of here before I punch you in the face and beat you down. You know? So like, like, and think about everything like the push of marijuana. Like, and I know I got the potheads, they always get mad at me, and like, I love you guys. I have a bunch of friends who are potheads, but pot totally feminizes you. It takes away your ambition. It the real men, and like, go back to the 50s, 60s, like watch Mad Men where they're wearing the suits. Those guys were they were bad men, but they were men. They're drinking whiskey and smoking cigars. Nicotine boosts your testosterone. Okay. I'm not saying you should go smoke like crazy, but if you want a stogie every once in a while, it's not going to kill you. It's probably good for you. And like, but they weren't like, I've never met a pot smoker who's super masculine. And now obviously some exist, like Joe Rogan exists. He's masculine, but there's not that many of them. There's not that many of them. And I think even he's kind of cut back. So, I'm just saying, like, but he's also got so many other good habits. It probably overcomes the pot. Most guys who smoke they don't have those other good habits. Fernando says you're a good therapist. Please don't say that. That is an insult. If you knew what I think about most therapy, that's an insult. All right, man. You guys got me ranting today. I have all these segments to do, and I'm just on the rant today. Sorry. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I hope it's not wasting your time. I'm definitely down on low viewers. I don't think everybody likes me being so forward, but it is what I can. Sun Kids Girl says, I jokingly say one reason I married my husband is because he can feed and shelter me if the shit hits the fan. Amen. That's what a man is supposed to do too. It's what a man's supposed to do. Have I ever considered running for Congress? That's one of those things where I'd have to know God's opened the doors for me, because I don't want to, but I will. It's like I'm Maximus in that situation where, if Marcus Aurelius comes to me and it says, Maximus, you must be Caesar. Do you accept this great honor I've given you? And I would be Maximus, be like, with all my heart, no. That's why, Maximus, it must be you. And then I'd think about it and I'd do it. But that's basically the conversation God or somebody I know I really trust has to have with me to do it. I really don't want to, but I absolutely would if it ever came to it. But for now, I feel like what I'm doing is what's best for my family and my situation, but also making a little bit of a difference if I can. So, okay. A couple others and then we'll get moving. Stephen Webb says, especially as Christians, it's not nice preaching the gospel, telling people their beliefs are wrong. Weakness equals less salvation. Well, you're right about that, Stephen. But the problem is when you go just tell somebody they're wrong, and there's no trust there built, you're just going to make it worse. So, Jesus said, be in the world, but not of it. In other words, when Jesus was hanging out with people, when it was the sinners, the people who didn't know anything about him, he wasn't preaching at them. He was just hanging out with them, building relationship, healing them, loving on them. The people he was hard on were the religious folk who should have known better and didn't. But yeah, you're right. We don't need to be pushovers either, though. So there's a balance. Let me put it that way. The idea of like going and preaching at people and just telling them they're wrong is, but at the same time, I completely believe Christians should take power and be like, listen, you are going to live by our rules. And I don't mean like authoritarian. I mean like the Constitution. Like, we have a frame of government in America we believe in. We are going to lead culture with these values. If you don't like it, you can get out. Like, there's other countries to go to. Like, I 100% believe, like, I'm a Christian nationalist. Let me put it that way. Not a Christian authoritarian, but I do believe Christians should be in charge because we make the best countries. There's just that's historically proven. Females are masters of emotions, using them strictly as tool or entertainment. That's not true. Females are not masters of their emotion. The feminine's actually the healthiest when they don't have to be in control of their emotions. If we're trying to turn feminism, the whole point of feminism is to try to make feminists like women more like men, which means trying to make women logical. You ever wonder why you're having an argument with your wife or your girlfriend and you're like, why don't you just understand what I'm trying to say? Because they're thinking emotionally, which is actually healthy for a woman for the most part. They're supposed to lead more with their hearts. We're supposed to lead more with our minds. And then by coming together, we build up the weakness in each other. So, that's what's healthy for women. But most women either have been taught the opposite, or taught to do whatever they want to do, which is also wrong, or taught to or trained by weak men that they can't be safe in their emotions. So that's, and that's what the masculine is supposed to provide, the framework, so they can be safe in that environment to feel their emotions a little more strongly. But I'm not anti-woman, man. We're not gonna knock on women here. That's not what I'm doing. More so, I want to call up men to be men. Let's stop worrying about the women. We worry about us. We get better, and we get better as men. Then the women will automatically get better. I guarantee it. Just watch. And obviously, I don't mean most of the women watching here. Most of the women watching here are brilliant and amazing. Okay. Time to move. All right, guys. We got a grifter report today, and I'm going to start this with Ami here. So, grifter report today. Ami brought out a new little fun thing with Megyn Kelly. So, I had to start with this to laugh, because we should all be laughing a lot. And then we're going to get into Thomas Massie and the absolute conundrum he is in, and how Fagaland, grifters, Podcastistan is falling apart. So here's Ami real quick.
So it looks like Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu may have slipped up in his 60 Minutes interview and confessed to something without even realizing it. Let's roll the clip.
This is yours, right? Mm-hmm.
Speaking of,
you're not immune either, because you can penetrate this machine and you can say about Major Garrett anything you want. And I can paint you as a monster. And if I say it often enough people will believe it.
Did you catch that there? Because we caught it. He's basically saying that Israel, that Netanyahu himself, can infiltrate your phone, go on your phone, and get onto the algorithm and just spread lie after lie after lie about you. That they'll continue on a campaign to smear you, mischaracterize you, distort your views, misrepresent you, and lie about you over and over and over again. And my message to that is, go f*** yourself. Go f*** yourself, okay? That's disgusting. And whoever does that should be ashamed, should be condemned. I think we saw it because we saw it. We saw what you did there. He's basically admitting that Israel is working behind the scenes to lie about people, to control what's going on online, to control what we see in our feeds. We saw it. Oh, we saw it. To admit that you're going to go online and lie about people, and continue to lie over and over and over again until your false narrative has infiltrated everyone's feed, everyone's algorithm. That's just as evil as it gets. And I'm going to fight it and stand up against it everywhere I see it. What's your stance on Candace Owens again? I'm not going to opine. What do you mean? But you just said, I've been working behind the scenes. You just accused Bibi of working behind the scenes. Did Ben Shapiro tell you to ask me that? No. So what's your position on Candace? We've actually gotten closer. What? She's a young mother. Megan, I don't get it. You just said you would stand up to and fight those that spread lies on the internet. Well, what's your stance on Candace? Tucker? So it looks like Prime Minister...
That is exactly what we're dealing with here, guys. It really falls apart quickly when the truth starts coming out, or when they're pressed. So love it. But all right. So let's get into Thomas Massie, because Massie is, for all this group, we're the real America first, MAGA betrayed us, Trump betrayed us, we're America first. Well, Massie is their guy. He's their god. He's the one who's in power, and will say whatever they want, who pushes their narratives in Washington, keeps standing up to Trump. I mean, they love this man. Well, it's just getting worse and worse for him. His election is next Tuesday, his primary. And this whole thing that just came out that we covered yesterday, this allegation of this dark affair that turned gross, this woman got really uncomfortable, and then Massie tried to pay her off and maybe even got her fired. The allegations from this woman coming out a week before, it's just, he's really struggling right now. And more is coming out in the details. So like right here we have Cynthia West confirmed on social media she was in South Africa on November 24 during Thanksgiving, the exact time Rep. Thomas Massie was there. She even posted a photo of herself feeding a hippo. Solid receipts with a clear timeline. People still want to deny it because they don't want to admit their little golden child's a dirtbag. Well, here's the pictures of her in South Africa, or America. Nope, it's Africa. My bad. The exact same time as Massie. Now, the other thing that's interesting is there's receipts being shared online of Massie on this trip having spent about $180,000 on the trip and on his hotels and stuff. So that's all coming back to bite him as well, which looks horrible. This is the guy who cares about big government spending. Well, I don't think you need $180,000 to go out to South Africa. I don't know, but maybe that's just me. I haven't been. Maybe it is that expensive. Maybe that's why apartheid, they're all so angry down there. But I doubt it. So this is ramping up, and Thomas Massie finally today came out with a denial. So he wrote, "It's sad. A week before the election, people are making false and unsubstantiated allegations about me in an obvious attempt to influence the outcome of this election. All the claims are false. I never offered money. There's no ethics claims filed against me. Never had one in 14 years. I've consulted legal counsel. We're considering all options." Well, buddy, it might be too late. And listen, I've said all along, these might be false allegations. Now, as I said at the beginning of this show during the live stream today, I've actually met this Cynthia person on X and had a conversation with her over a year ago, maybe almost 2 years ago, when he was single after his wife died. And in this chat I was in was a group of people. Thomas Massie was brought up, and she legitimately said Thomas Massie's a bad person, which I always thought was very interesting at that time, and that she dated him. And people were like, she's dated Massie, because they thought she was going to help get Massie to help with this MMTLP fraud that happened with all these stockholders. Well, obviously, nothing came of that, because Thomas Massie, either she didn't bring it up to him or whatever, but I'll never forget her saying he was a bad person. Well, I put it away. I never, I thought about it. I thought it was interesting, but I always thought about it about Massie. I didn't put it together till this morning that this is actually the woman that I heard that from. Same woman. So I can tell you that it's not like she just came out because of the election. Now, the timing of the release of all this obviously is tied to the election, and I can't substantiate any of her claims. All I can tell you is my little anecdotal encounter there. But I will say it's very interesting that Massie took this long to respond to this. And, whatever, consulting adults, do what you're going to do. I don't care about all that. It doesn't look like anything criminal happened here, but the problem is that he did this exact same thing to Trump. This exact same thing. Okay. Whereas Massie has made nonstop, unsubstantiated claims about Trump covering up things, covering up the Epstein files. He calls them now the Epstein class, the Epstein administration. These are all unsubstantiated. He believes it could happen, maybe, but actually he doesn't, because he knows better, because Ro Khanna, all these frauds in Congress can go read those files anytime they want, unredacted, and they can go on the floor of the Senate, floor of the Capitol, and they can tell us everything and not have to worry. They are not held liable because they are representatives and they're doing it from the Capitol. They can do this. There's no stopping them. If this was such a big thing, if they had these names, remember almost a year ago, Massie said, we know of 20 people involved in this. And then he never dropped another name. He did drop 4 names at one point, and those men ended up not being any way connected to Epstein. They were from a lineup taken about some of this stuff during an investigation. And he outed these poor guys who hadn't done anything wrong. Those are the only names Massie ever brought us, Ro Khanna ever brought us. Meanwhile, he's hanging out with all these people he calls victims who, A, won't testify in public, and B, did a commercial for the Super Bowl was funded by Reid Hoffman, who, along with Bill Gates, is well known as one of the worst people in the Epstein files, most connected to Epstein, and most likely to do some of the horrible stuff. So the question is why would Massie keep going after the Trump administration so much without actually providing evidence on the back side of it? Well, I'm sorry, buddy. What goes around comes around. You made your bed, and now you don't get to cry when it comes back to you. I don't feel bad for Thomas Massie, and neither should you. This guy has had no problem running his mouth on all this stuff nonstop and never providing a single shred of evidence, never backed up any of it. And yes, he can go around tout, I got it passed, I got these released. Okay, fine. You started that. But then they got released, and then everything else is there for you to read and bring out. Why aren't you doing that? If this administration is so evil and corrupt, they're hiding it. Why don't you bring the receipts, friend? You have the option, but you won't, will you? Because that would hurt you politically, because there's nothing there. Not what you want it to be. Over the years and years and years, several of these files have been destroyed. There's judges who are holding up a lot of the files in several states, and nobody talks about that. But Massie just nonstop attacking the Trump administration. The exact same thing he's claiming this woman's now doing to him. Well, you play with the bull, you get the horns, my friend. And we're all going to be very happy to see you go bye-bye because of this. So Will Chamberlain puts it out here. It took Massie more than 30 hours to come up with this heavily lawyered statement. Story here is the allegations he doesn't deny. Well, Fagaland is very, very mad about this. They are so sad because their guy is about to go bye-bye, and they're realizing more and more they have no power. Here's Ian Carroll, grifter of grifters. He might be the worst of all of them, not because he's the biggest, not because he has the most influence, but because he's literally done the least. And he was just pushed in front of us without having ever done anything, and instead just spewing a bunch of stuff that he stole from other people. Guys offered nothing new, no new ideas, couldn't even build a big following on his own. Went from 0 to 100 from nowhere, from being a pizza delivery guy. And that kind of tells you who he's associated with. But he writes, the new Massie conspiracy theory peddled by the Zionists with zero evidence tells you how desperate they are to stop anyone America first from holding office. Millions of Adelson dollars wasn't working, so now they're trying this. Desperate. How funny. Massie isn't falling apart because of money. He is collapsing because MAGA is like, you're not one of us. We don't actually see how you're helping us at all. So listen, buddy. But this is what they got to cry about. You know what this is? This is the little boy looking for someone to blame. No accountability, no responsibility, no saying, man, how could we have done this better? No, we got to blame it on the Jews. It's always the Jews, because we have no influence. We have no power, despite the fact we're trying to tell you that we are the movement. The people are with us. We represent the people. Well, if you represent the people, why can't you even get one guy who was extremely popular even just 2-3 years ago, won his district by like 80%? Why can't you even get one guy? This was supposed to be a gimme for you guys. This was T-ball. We set it up. This election, the Thomas Massie primary, is playing T-ball. Here's your tee. Here's your ball. Go up and hit it, little Ian. Go up and hit the ball, little Ian. And he can't. He whiffed. And now he wants to say, the Jews made me miss the ball. That is how pathetic these people are. They are absolutely pathetic. And if you think any of them matter, you still are on that team, I don't know what to tell you. You're on the losing team of a bunch of whiny, loser, crazy people. Candace Owens, though, they're in such a bad place now. Candace is outwardly endorsing him. Candace Owens endorses Massie for re-election after lobbyists spend over $10 million to remove him from Congress. Tucker, where'd that money come from? Thomas Massie, at least 95% from the Israel lobby. What a receipt right there. Thanks, Candace. Hey, Candace, where'd you get your evidence from? I saw it on a podcast. Good job, Candace. Goes really in line with how you run your show. Where'd you get that evidence, Candace? Somebody told me. Okay. Trust me, bro. Really, really good stuff there. So, but she's got to try to get out there because this guy's losing. He's losing, and they're very, very, very sad about it. As this post says, these people ignore all life works, turnabouts, fair play. You spend 2 years glorying in conspiracies grounded on unsubstantiated rumors. You can't get butthurt when that tactic's turned on you. Well, this is in response to Viva Frey. Viva Frey has been absolutely crashing out over the whole Massie thing. Like, he is having a real hard time about it. And the sad part is I used to like Viva, okay? I used to like him. But Viva is best friends with Rich Barris and Robert Barnes, especially Robert Barnes, who we've all learned is one of the biggest grifters out there. And while Viva tried to keep on an impartial face and act like he was one of them, well, this Thomas Massie thing is just driving him crazy. So I just want to show you a couple things here where he's just absolutely freaking out. First of all, he's going after all these people, but here's the one post that really made me laugh. The lack of introspection, confession through projection. What a sentence. The lack of introspection and confession through projection. That's a lawyer statement if I ever heard one. So many people despise Massie is palpable. I have zero ties or loyalty to Massie. Really? Then why do you care so much? Why can't you see it for what it is? A lot of people are. This guy was supposed to easily win his primary just a couple months ago, and now the people of Kentucky are like, nah, man, we're good. The regular people see it. The common sense people see it. Why can't you, Viva, since you're not loyal to him? I am loyal to integrity and intellectual honesty only. I defended Trump vigorously when I believed the bogus, politically motivated claims from East Jean Carroll. Well, thank you. You did it when Trump was popular, and you knew that there was no other option. These same people didn't complain then. Them complaining now proves they're partisan hacks, not me. Right's right, wrong's wrong, even if you don't like the person. Okay, Viva. Thanks for ranting to us. And after that, everything is just nonstop going after the people calling out Massie. It's just nonstop. Oh, getting a little freeze there on my X feed. A second. Let me. Humiliation of Will, who I just played. Were you lying when you made that accusation, Will? Did you not watch the full interview? I watched Cynthia West deposition style video about Massie. I call political hit job. Well, first of all, Viva, of course it is. Of course it is. And I'm actually happy it is because the timing is perfect. But this is politics, big boy. Put on your big boy pants. Let's play. If you can't win, don't play the game. It's always dirty. Always. And I don't know if her allegations are true. I don't know if she was actually trying to be paid off. I don't know that. I'm not saying they are. I don't care. What I care about is Thomas Massie's about to lose, because whether or not she's telling the truth, Thomas Massie is a fraud. And I've known that because I've been tracking him now for the last 2 years. In fact, going back to Biden, when Thomas Massie was the deciding vote that got Biden's budget through, where they eliminated the debt ceiling for a year and a half so Biden could spend whatever he wanted, that vote was Thomas Massie. Mr. Principled, I care about the debt. Yeah, he voted it through committee. It was 7-6 because of Thomas Massie. It would have been 7-6 the other way if it wasn't for him. I've been following this man, this grifter, since then. He's a total fraud. So I really don't care if she's telling the truth or not, but I'm really happy it's hurting Massie. I'm really happy because he played the same game. He played the same game. And oh no. Oh no. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. In fact, it's looking so bad for Massie now that I'm telling you, we're going to have a little watch party next Tuesday night and watch him lose in real time. That's my plan. So get your beverage of choice, your snack of choice, and join me next Tuesday because I plan on live streaming the end of Thomas Massie in real time as the poll results come in. And listen, if he wins, then we'll drink for another reason. It's not the end of the world, but it's looking bad. It's looking real bad for Thomas Massie at this point because these numbers are starting to run away from him. And I told you guys, even before we got the news on this polls, even before the polls changed, Massie was still ahead. I said it as soon as he went on Tucker. He's got bad numbers. He's trying to reach the masses again, to try to fire up that America First tribe. We have influencers now trying to get each other together to go make a final push for Massie at the end. Like they are crashing out, and it's so beautiful. I love it so much. So Massie, looks like you're on your way out, and I'll be one of the ones celebrating the most. Can't wait to see that one happen because this one, guys, this is really going to hurt that crowd. Dave Smith, Tucker Carlson, Fuentes, Candace, Megyn Kelly, Robert Barnes, all of them. This one's going to hurt them real bad because this was the guy, remember, who was supposed to be able to run for president 2028. A real America First. He'll win. He'd crush Trump. He'll crush J.D. Vance. Him and Tucker run together. They'll crush it. Can't even win your primary. You know what we call that, friends? A loser. So now, Massie, not only are you a fraud, as of next Tuesday, you're also going to be a loser. And I can't think of it much worse than that for you. So join me next Tuesday. We'll watch it together. It'll be fun. All right. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thank you guys for checking this out today. I got a couple more segments. We still got more to come. But let's take a break for a second, get in the chat, and say hey to everybody. Whoops. I'm all over the place. I wanted to leave that one up. There we go. All right. One of the many with the $5 super chat says ace holes are better than mass holes. I like that. We'll take it. We'll take that. That's great. Let's see. We have people saying, wasn't Massie with the believe all women crowd? I don't know if he ever went that far with the crowd, but he definitely flirted in that general direction. That's for darn sure. Punchcat says Massie's full of crap. Always been. He's a globalist. Only there to stop Republican reforms. I agree. I feel like that's pretty obvious now lately. Kinder says so many people getting effed up by racial ability to handle alcohol. Wait, what? I don't know where that's coming from. Sorry. I thought that you were saying something else there. Viva was a candidate for People's Party of Canada. He's a commie. I did not know that. That's interesting. I did know he's a Canadian, but he now lives in America, I believe. Excuse me. Punchcat says, all bought off by Muslim money. Notice how Alex Jones doesn't speak about Christianity anymore. I didn't know that. I don't watch Alex, so I did not notice that. But that makes sense. Vote out mass at. Nikki for Freedom says Trump stayed consistent despite everyone around him floundering and turning on him. MAGA Express is alive and well. And not only is it alive and well, I think we're actually getting stronger. I really do. I think we went through a major attack, a major psyop to divide us, and we survived it. And so now on the other end, we're getting stronger. We're building momentum again. Excuse me. Sebastian says, both my brothers are Massie bros and think Trump's making Israel great again. They were blackpilled. I still love them. You should still love them. We're not going to be petty enough to let our disagreements make us hate people. But we can be petty enough to laugh in their faces when we win. At some point they'll wake up. At some point they will, because truth always wins as long as they're willing to see everything. Problem with Massie and Paul is they're ideologues who won't compromise for the greater good of an 80% win. I'm going to go one step further than for you there, Render. Is the problem with Massie and Rand Paul is they pretend to be ideologues who won't compromise. They pretend. They're not actually ideologues. They are playing a game. And that game allows them to win Republican primaries and Republican in red areas where they'll win a seat in order to undercut the Republican conservative MAGA agenda at every opportunity. Now, I know Rand Paul's been here way longer than Trump, and I do like some of what Rand Paul's done. But the fact is like at this point, it's so clear where we're headed and what Trump's actually trying to do that there's no excuse anymore. So if you're in the game, you got to play it. Now, is Rand a little more on might be semi-decent than Massie? Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm 100% Rand Paul is compromised. I'm 100% sure Massie is, because Massie had no problem helping Biden get through that budget. And that, my friends, that for somebody principled, that one was completely inexcusable. Also, the whole Epstein thing, Massie had no reason to pursue it the way he did. He could have done it honorably. He could have done it along with the Trump administration. He could have played ball in a way that made sense and wasn't so fraudulent, but he didn't. He chose to do it in the way that hurt Trump the most. And that's not because he's principled. That's because he's a fraud or he's bought off. So that's, that's all you gotta need to know about that. Thank you, Don Heben. Yeah, Rand Paul, I got a lot of issues with Rand. Don't get me wrong. So, okay, let's get into the next segment, because I definitely have more, guys. So next, what we need to talk about is this justice that's moving on. Now, excuse me real quick. Catching a little bit of that spring allergies, man. And apparently my dogs want to be on the show too. Okay, let's get into it. So the last couple of days, I have been covering how Trump has been on an exposure line of breaking out all the deep state shadow government being used against him. This includes Obama, John Brennan, Comey, Clinton, Biden, Schiff, etc. It's been all out, calling them out, calling out Ro Khanna, Mark Kelly. He has been exposing it, and it tells me something's ramping up. Well, now we have this Brennan is now allegedly maybe starting to play ball because things are tightening around him. And as Brennan is the architect behind a lot of this, he was Obama's handler and the guy who started a lot of this movement from the far left, not started it, but has perpetuated it and pushed it in new ways to go deeper, especially in the Obama administration. Since the 90s, he's been doing this. He's the reason Obama got raised up. Well, now he's under fire and in trouble. And as the walls are closing in, he might be starting to talk. Here, let's listen to this.
You are literally the man who wrote the book on John Brennan. Do you think he's in any real trouble now that Miami-based FBI agents are up at Langley asking questions?
Yeah, he's clearly backpedaling, Matt, and he's getting hit from various pressure points. I think it was this last night. He is saying that there is a legion. There is a legion of intelligence officers within the Trump administration that are actively working against the president. This is critical because just 4 months ago, he was questioned at a George Mason a panel where a NCTC analyst had questioned him about the Tulsi Gabbard email releases regarding the direct association that he has to orchestrating, as Roger Stone has said, and as I'm saying, the Russian collusion hoax The fact that he is now saying that there are members within the Trump administration that clearly the president himself should be wary of, questioning absolutely everybody that is working in the administration. The fact that John Brennan is now saying this tells me that he is backpedaling, and he may very well, Matt, he may soon begin to sing, as they say. That would be releasing names. The contents in the book should make the former director of the FBI very weary as to if I'm going to answer it, which is what I'm doing, the patriots that are on the ground that have collected information against his malfeasance and his alleged criminal activity.
All right. So if this is true, and if Brennan is getting ready to sing, I got to tell you guys that Brennan is, he knows everything. This is the guy who, I mean, this would be the biggest whistleblower of them all, because it's one thing to get one of the big guys like Obama or Clinton, but Brennan's been the one behind the scenes orchestrating most of this. This would be massive. So let's hope it's true. But again, high stakes treason author believes Obama's ex-CIA. Brennan's in panic mode because the FBI is now questioning CIA officers about his role in this. So the FBI is now going after the CIA, breaking it down, and Brennan is getting very nervous. Well, they're obviously all getting nervous about this because Nicole Wallace on MS Now is not very happy.
Reuters today is reporting on some movement out of that red string basement case out of the Southern Florida office that is headquartering this. They write this, quote, "The FBI has begun interviewing current and former CIA employees as part of the Department of Justice's investigation into ex-CIA director and MS Now senior national security and intelligence analyst John Brennan over his role in an intelligence finding that Russia interfered in the 2016 U.S. election to help Donald Trump." That's according to 5 sources familiar with the matter.
Oops.
Employees were questioned last week by agents out of the Miami field office at CIA headquarters in McLean, Virginia. Interviews are expected to continue throughout the coming weeks, according to 3 of the sources. Reuters today is reporting.
So she is not, she's scared. I mean, scared. You could hear, oh, that's a perfect spot to hold it for her. That's about what I think of her when she speaks. But do you hear her voice, how scared she sounds? She can't help it, man. This woman is terrified. And she had to put in there MS Now senior intelligence analyst to try to give him like a make him sound lovable and one of us. He's just one of us, guys. But they're panicking. They are panicking hard right now because the media is all complicit in this. They all know. They loved Obama. They thought this was the time. This was our guy. He was going to take us to the promised land. And now it's all falling apart. And they know that Brennan, he is the key. He's not the only key. There's other ways to get there. But going after Brennan, which he's not a household name, so there's going to be a lot of people. If John Brennan got arrested and put in prison for life, you know what would happen in my chat? Where's the arrest, bro? They don't arrest anyone. Tells you how little people know. Brennan's one of the big ones. He is one of the worst. And so for this going down with him is absolutely massive. Now, Jesse Waters reporting the same time that's going down with Brennan, the Department of Justice is teasing Comey indictment might be even bigger and Fauci might be next. Here's Jesse Waters breaking down how all this is starting to fall apart on them.
Comey moved from the beach to the bedroom. He's laying seashells on Trump's pillow.
Donald Trump wakes up at 3 a.m. thinking about me. I do not, the reverse does not happen. It's crazy that I'm in a place where I'm 65 years old and I actually find it a little bit humorous to have this obsession by this 80-year-old man with me.
Comey may be on a permanent book tour, but Trump, he is on a lifelong revenge tour.
Donald Trump has a bottomless desire to gain revenge against those who've criticized him. And I'm not going to stop criticizing him because I think that's required if you care about America.
Trump's not on a retribution tour. He's just making a couple stops in major cities. We don't have enough jails to arrest all his enemies anyway. But Comey, not a good guy. He'll talk 47 all day, but mention 86, the man goes mute.
What is it that you are accused of doing?
In the current indictment, making and communicating a threat to assassinate the President of the United States.
And what did you actually do? What is your defense?
I'm not going to talk about that. I am not only not guilty, I am innocent, and we will pursue this.
Sounds credible.
You don't have to convince
I'm literally
us,
not
Comey.
guilty.
You take it up with Johnny.
Director Comey, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Jesse Waters from Fox has a question.
Yeah.
Why do you want to 86 Trump?
All right.
Director?
I'm not taking questions like that now.
Why would you
Just signing the book.
Why would you post that? Director Comey, how was your interview with the Secret Service?
You want the book signed, really?
How pathetic do
Absolutely.
these guys
You got
look?
it, bud.
You got it, bud.
Can you sign my seashell too? Which beach is this that you're going to? You find a Kamala seashell, 8647. This is a politically charged beach, Director.
Hey, well.
Director, the seashell? You don't want to sign it?
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night. Have a good night. Thank you. Good night, Director.
Comey's trial set for July 15th. He says there's no there. But Blanche says it's not just seashells. There's a lot more.
I am not permitted to get into the details of what the grand jury heard or found, as you know, but rest assured that it's not just the Instagram post that leads somebody to get indicted.
Comey's not the only one in hot agua. John Brennan's seat's starting to boil. The FBI's questioning
love
CIA
seeing all this coming
officers
together.
about Brennan's role in the Russia hoax. His defense? TDS is in the water.
There's still a legion of professionals in the law enforcement environment, the Department of Justice, as well as the CIA and other places, the ones who are refusing to follow politically motivated prosecutions, those who are refusing to support any type of political activities on the part of the Trump administration.
Fauci might be swimming in the same pool. One of his top guys was indicted for a COVID cover-up. Now the DOJ is eyeing a new criminal case against Anthony, even though AutoPen gave him a pardon.
I just want to stop for a second here. The Fauci thing, they obviously have more that could keep it going past the statute of limitations. We had Rand Paul yelling at us for weeks. Statute of limitations about to run out. Statute of limitations run out. Well, what does that make it look bad? It makes Trump look bad because it makes it look like he doesn't care about going after Fauci, which a lot of Americans want to see, especially in MAGA. And yet this is like, no, we are doing it. So I just find that very interesting. That means Rand Paul, because he would know this. He's a senator. He would lie, you know? So anyways, it's just crazy. But anyways, just a thought.
Hope you got your floaties, Doc. And this just in, a COVID-19 whistleblower, an active CIA employee, will be testifying tomorrow in front of Rand Paul's committee about the origins of the pandemic as well as the cover-up.
All right. So Fauci, obviously, they're going after the conspiracy, which means the cover-up keeps it going, okay? The cover-up keeps it going, and the statute of limitations resets from every time you do anything towards that. So we have Comey ramping up, Brennan panicking, Fauci, all in a 3-minute segment on Jesse Waters. This is amazing, okay? Jesse Waters, watched by millions and millions of regular people, not even necessarily MAGA. I mean, they're Republicans. No, very few Democrats are watching Fox News, but the boomer types, the older people watching this, and they're getting woken up because they're not watching my show. They're not watching YouTube. So they're, so every time Fox News gets something that's big like this, the way I see it is that's reaching the mainstream. Well, all this is reaching the mainstream now. Well, once it hits the mainstream, guys, good luck bringing that back in. Once this exposure hits mainstream, you can't put it back in the bottle. So we just got Brennan, Comey, Fauci all on blast to the mainstream in a 3-minute segment on Jesse Waters. And you're blackpilling. You can't get this stuff out there. You can't get the people more angry, more ready for justice and not deliver. It's just like Trump yesterday. blowing up Truth Social with 50 plus messages about all this conspiracy, the coup, the treason, the sedition against him. You can't do that if you're not planning on following through, because that would bring Trump down. And listen, I am somebody who there's very few people you could say support Trump more than I do, because I believe I know what he's doing and I believe I'm seeing him do it. So I love the guy. But even if we get to the end of 4 years and nothing's been done on this stuff, I'll have my anger. Now, it wouldn't be like he's a failure. He's done another bunch of other good stuff. But this particular area would be a failure, and I'd be critical. Even I need to see this happen. I don't know how it needs to happen, but I just need to know they at least did everything they could. That's what I need to see. And we're going to find out how that goes down, because Trump will follow the legal system, obviously. He always does. But what matters in all this is that it now is to the point there's no turning back. You can't hide it anymore. And you better believe the Trump administration, the Department of Justice, is okay with this. Because if it's hitting Fox News, they're at the point where they have to cover it, because it's probably starting to happen. That's a sign, guys. We're moving forward on the justice angle. Now, you guys know I can't stand Owen Schroyer. Apparently he's working with James O'Keefe Media now, which, but James O'Keefe does some good work. And he caught this guy in the Trump administration. Remember yesterday, we had Brennan saying there's people in the Trump administration undercutting Trump's agenda. Well, we found this out. Now, I'm not going to play this whole clip. It's very long. But we're going to get to this part where he literally admits this guy's working in the Trump administration and somehow has been undercover this far. He admits he hates Trump and is trying to stop him. Watch this.
Initially revealed, using charged language, repeatedly stating, "We've got to get rid of him."
We have to get rid of Trump. Seriously. He's a mess. He's fucking it up for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. We gotta get rid of him. Honestly. Yeah. With him at the top, it's next to impossible to do anything. He's a madman. Literally. He's invincible. Nothing can stop him. And that's dangerous. The way his decisions are so erratic, you would think he drinks. He doesn't drink. And that's what makes it so dangerous, that someone could be of sound mind and body, totally coherent, could just be so reckless in their decision making. Yeah. That's scary.
Wow. As Benjamin proceeds to reiterate over and over that Trump should never be president, saying ominous things like, "This is where it stops," the undercover journalist asked Benjamin whether his co-workers at the White House are aware that he holds so much hatred towards the president. And he replies, no, they can't know.
For some reason, they feel like America was getting too diverse, too liberal. He's being under attack and being suppressed and threatened to be a minority. So all these programmers doing that, so they want to stop him. Never be president.
That is insane.
For me, it's that simple.
That's insane.
That's where it stops.
Yeah.
So never.
No. Do people know that how you feel about the president? No.
They can't know. This guy, he's already been placed on leave, which is beautiful. So this outed him. This is great news, right? But this is crazy. This happens right after Brennan revealed it. So you better believe, and on top of what Brennan just did, and then this, there's going to be a new purging going on with lower staffers. All right, this guy's a budget analyst. He's not a high-ranking guy. But you better believe what he got himself in. See, D.C. is a really incestuous place. Very incestuous. You have the uniparty establishment has been there for decades. They're everywhere. The swamp creatures are everywhere. And when the Trump administration comes in, they have to staff thousands of jobs. I'm not joking. That's not hyperbole. They have to staff thousands of jobs. So at the lower jobs, what will happen is they'll be like, hey, I know a guy who knows a guy. And they'll be like, okay, we'll bring him in. Because they just need somebody doing the work. So they'll bring him in, and they're not always vetted on this stuff. I mean, it's a problem, don't get me wrong, but it's also very difficult to vet everybody. This guy being in the White House is pretty crazy. But now he's out, which is good. It's still with Trump having over 2.5 years left. But it does tell you how they're everywhere and how hard it is to find somebody. Imagine this. I mean, you staff all these people. You've already had a term where the whole Republican establishment was undercutting you the whole time. It slowed down your first term substantially. You had 4 years to learn about it. You found out all the people who'd betray you. They're on record now. All the Republicans who thought Trump was safe to attack did so. You come back in, you're much more prepared. You have all these new staffers, all these new secretaries. You can trust them. You've vetted all them. You don't have time to vet every 1,000 people. So you trust them to do it, and you trust their staff to do it. And you find out that even with all that, these guys still get in. Now that is discouraging, but the good news is it's being exposed and we're catching them. And so I believe there's going to be a whole new thing happening right now where they laid low for a year. Where they make it 16 months. They laid low. They tried to get by, and now they've done screwed up because now that they're outed, this will be ending. This will be ending because I guarantee you this is getting up to Trump, and there's no way in hell he's going to let them continue this. So there's going to be a massive push on this stuff. So thanks to John Brennan for saying it and James O'Keefe for showing us the truth. Now, with all this going on, with Brennan, Comey, the whole shadow government being exposed, the Obama stuff, we're getting more exposure. In other words, it's spreading through everything. Trump's touching all the different pieces. And for everybody who's like, nothing's ever happening. Trump's in China. He doesn't care about here. Well, guess what? He's got a lot of people here doing a lot of good work. The last couple of days, there's been a CIA whistleblower in Capitol Hill revealing a majority of CIA scientists concluding COVID leaked from a lab in Wuhan. But Fauci convinced Intel officials to change the assessment from the lab leak to neutral. That's crazy. How many times have some of these bigger people, Fauci, Brennan, Comey, all these people left over from the Obama administration before, how many times have they changed the actual facts from getting to the people? But it's all getting out now, and it's terrifying them. So that's going to be a big part of what happens with Fauci coming up. Now, they, of course, are so terrified of what's coming, they are trying to take out Kash Patel again. And Kash Patel was in a hearing yesterday, and Van Hollen, the guy who had margaritas with the illegal immigrant when he was sent to Colombia, he went after Kash hard. So here's a breakdown of it. Nobody's telling you what happened in the hearing room. Everyone's covering bar tab joke. No one's explaining what Van Hollen walked in there to do. Van Hollen's opening move was he asked FBI if he had a drinking problem. That's not oversight. That's a political assassination attempt. They're so scared of Kash Patel. They are so scared of Kash. It's insane. They just won't stop. But Patel came prepared. So let's watch a little bit of this exchange here. Actually, we'll watch the longer version right here.
Occasions when your security detail had difficulty waking or locating you. Is that right?
Nope, it's a total farce. I don't even know where you get this stuff, but it doesn't make it credible because you say so.
I'm not saying it, Director Patel. It's been written and documented.
You are literally saying it.
No, I'm saying that these are reports, Director Patel.
No,
and
unlike
I
your
will
baseless
say,
reports,
Director
the only person
Patel,
that was slinging margaritas in El Salvador on the taxpayer dollar with a convicted gangbanging rapist was you.
You know,
the only person that ran up a
Director
$7,000 bar tab in Washington, D.C. at the
this
lobby bar
suggests to me-
was you.
This
the only
suggests
individual in
to
this
me that
room
the
that has
allegations
been
are
drinking on
true.
taxpayer dime during
Are
the
you
day
polygraphing?
is you.
Director Patel, come on.
I love
These
it so
are
much.
serious allegations that were made against you.
The
They're in a
allegations
lawsuit
are
that
false.
you filed.
You drinking margaritas with a gangbanger
actually,
is true and on
it
video.
just goes to show you don't-
running a $7,000
this goes-
bar tab at the lobby bar
Director Patel,
has been filed by your own
this
office.
goes to
You drink
show-
during the day. That's
Chairman-
you.
Mr.
This is the
Chairman-
ultimate example of hypocrisy.
Chairman-
I will not
He's got the red alcoholic face, by the way. Just adding that.
be tarnished by baseless allegations
let me
and
ask
fraudulent
questions.
statements from the media.
The fact that you mentioned that indicates you don't know what you are talking about. Now, here,
The
Director
only thing I
Patel,
know is you're the one drinking margaritas with felons.
Actually,
Oh my God. The Trump put together such an amazing team to be able to stand up to these senators like this. It's fantastic. Well, here's Kash saying, fact check, Chris Van Hollen. Here's the DC bar, and here's the tab. Here's the reported tab with the where is it? I'm trying to find the disbursement. Here it is, right here. With the $7,000 right here. Good job, Kash. Itemized disbursements for a bar tab in Washington, D.C. That, my friends, is a gotcha moment. Excuse me. These people, man, they don't know who they're messing with. See, in the past, whether it was actual good, like in the Bush administration, for instance, Bush was awful in so many ways, but he had a few good people working for him. And, the Democrats would go after them and they would just take it. Or even in the first Trump administration, they would go for these grillings and the hearings and they would just take it. But we got fighters now. And so they are just going right back at him. And that was the wrong guy. I mean, how dumb. There truly are Democrats. How stupid do they have to be to have Van Hollen, the guy with all this out there, to have him be the one going after Kash about drinking? I just, how stupid do you have to be? But again, they're trying to take Kash Patel out. But after seeing this, guys, we don't have anything to worry about. We don't have anything to worry about. Kash is a big boy. He's going to take care of himself. And I guarantee you, President Trump loved every second of this. Now, speaking of continuing through here, like Kash is going after the criminals, the conspiracy guys. Well, we got Vance bringing financial justice back to America with this this major push against fraud. And for everybody who's like, well, Trump has just put Vance in the background. He's not doing. This is the White House posting about what Vance is doing. And this is everywhere now. What Vance is in charge of is a big deal. And today they announced, by the way, Vance has a big announcement coming up pretty soon here. And maybe we'll cut over to it. I don't know, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, regardless, they announced today $1.4 billion in federal funding has been withheld from a sweeping crackdown on fraud operations in California, Minnesota, and other states. The era of blank checks and zero accountability is over. They are not giving this money out easily anymore, and they're starting to recoup it and cut off the sending out. And again, I just think that as this builds up, guys, we might actually find that we have maybe no deficit. I don't know, but it's pretty crazy the numbers we're seeing. That $1.4 billion so far just from a couple states. Just wait till it keeps going. Now, Brandon Gill is chairing a new House Oversight Committee task force on defending constitutional rights and exposing institutional abuses. Now, listen to this. This is interesting. He says the first target is going to be Medicaid fraud in Ohio. They are purging the whole Medicare fraud system. Listen to this.
seeing their tax. I mean, the American people are sick of seeing their tax dollars wasted and seeing government organizations or nonprofit institutions, colleges, businesses abuse the American people. And that's what we're going after with this task force. But what we found with this Ohio fraud scandal is that we've got what we believe to be billions of dollars that have been defrauded from American taxpayers that should have been going to benefit the American people. And instead, we're being laundered through a wide variety of shell companies that were acting as intermediaries to facilitate payments to organizations that weren't providing any type of health care. Ostensibly, this was going towards companionship services where we can't even verify that the services were actually provided, where there was no verification that the people providing these services were actually had any medical training whatsoever, and there were no caps on the spending for these programs. And again, this is billions of dollars, and this is what the American people are sick of, and what we're going to work hard and diligently to put an end to with this task force.
How mad does it make you feel that this has taken this long to figure this out, to go after this stuff? You know, this is what, when you ask, like, what's the establishment class, the uniparty. Well, this is where the Republicans are just as guilty, especially Republicans that aren't MAGA Republicans. This is where they're just as guilty as Democrats. See, the good times were a rolling. They would get the money out there. They'd buy votes with it, but they'd also get kickbacks. The lobbyists would get them kickbacks. This grift has been going on forever. We were being treated as if we were the money printer that could never die. And we wonder how they get rich in Congress. Well, there's lots of ways. There's insider trading. There's lobbyists, kickbacks. There's nonprofit organizations. There's book deals. This is how they launder money. There's so many ways. These guys like Marjorie Taylor Greene goes to Congress, just a regular little businesswoman with a construction company, and now is buying $5 million mansions in Costa Rica. This is how it happens, okay? And the fact they're finally going after this is amazing to me. And this is another reason why, I'm patient with the arrests that we want to see, whether it's Obama, Gates, Clinton, Brennan, you name it, all these big names we want to see really face justice. I'm patient with that because they are kind of in the shadows right now, whereas a lot of these things are happening in the moment. And so we got to stop all of it if we can. And we need this over-encompassing. The mess here in the U.S. is so much worse than any of us ever dared to believe. We were all mad about Trump spending money in Congress because of the debt. Not all of us, but that's a big push against Trump. He's a big spender. He's not a real conservative. He's not like libertarians. We hate him for that. But what if Trump just knew all along that the spending he's doing wasn't actually hurting the debt? It was all the fraud part that were. And if we just clean that up, it would take care of itself. Maybe that's what DOJ was really all about. It wasn't about cutting everything immediately. It was about finding where everything was going, what was being done with it, and then reporting back so then they could start building the cases to end it, so they could find the trail. I don't know. I just think it's interesting that a year after DOJ, we're starting to see this real ramp up in fraud enforcement. I don't know. Do with that what you will, but I think this is all a big part of it. Now, finally, the last part I want to talk about on just justice coming back to our nation. Trump this week, he announced this from the White House. Under Trump, replacement migration will never be the standard. This is a shot to the great replacement theory, okay, that they were trying to do here, and they're doing in Europe right now. Bringing in so many migrants that it just replaces our population, basically, or our power as a population. He says replacement migration will never be the standard. U.S. objects to the Global Compact on Migration, UN efforts to facilitate replacement migration. And here we have this graphic of Trump, and it says remigration, which means get them out. We're sending them out. That is just a doubling down. We had Holman the other day saying, oh, you haven't seen anything yet. Mark Wayne Mullen saying the numbers are getting higher. And now this big double down right here. This is after the Department of State did a major breakdown on how they're ramping, of how they're critical of all this immigration stuff, and coming from the Department of State. This is a huge official statement. Whereas last week, the U.S. refused to participate in the review of the Global Compact on Migration. They didn't even participate in it. The UN just does not have any sway over us anymore. U.S. objects to the Global Compact on Migration, UN efforts to facilitate replacement migration. The U.S. our Western allies. And they just do this whole thread of how dangerous this is and why we disagree with it. It's massive. And look, calling them out. UN officials lobbied aviation regulators to prevent the deportation of migrants. I mean, they just call it all out. UN officials staffed all ends of the Mediterranean migration route. They're calling out the UN for bringing these people in. UN officials greeted migrants along the route. UN-funded NGOs handed out maps to migrants. This is crazy we're seeing this. This is the UN being put on blast as basically committing criminal behavior to undercut sovereignty of nations. Absolutely wild. And as MJ Truth posts, don't tell me nothing is happening. ICE busts absolutely massive visa fraud ring. Over 10,000 foreign students tied to phantom employers in nationwide crackdown. U.S. Immigration, ICE, Homeland Security announced today a sweeping fraud investigation into optional practical training program, uncovering coordinated schemes involving 10,000 foreign students and suspicious employers. Key findings from sites across Virginia, Texas, Georgia, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, North Carolina, and Florida include phantom employees at empty residential addresses, shell companies with locked doors, one employer claiming only 3 students, but records showing over 500, clusters of flake employers, offshore HR payroll, often India linked. Of course it was. Suspicious financial transactions moving cash across multiple countries, coordinated false reporting, making legitimate oversight impossible. Director Todd Lyons described as organized international fraud undermines American workers. This is just the tip of the iceberg. A program meant for temporary postgraduate training is ballooned into a major pathway for foreign graduates. Time to shut it down. Amen. This is massive. 10,000 students. 10,000. This is all just happening. We don't even know about most of these programs. Most Americans don't know anything about this. They were able to create it under our noses and use it to launder money and use it to bring people here who have no business being here. And they've been doing this forever. And Trump is ending it. It's so beautiful to watch. So beautiful to watch. And you know what else is beautiful to watch? Here's another kind of justice. E. Jean Carroll, the woman who lied about Trump raping her and was awarded $83 million from Trump in a court. Well, after bragging about it for 2 years, how she's going to spend it, it's now been blocked by an appeals court. So, more winning. This woman, the fraud is just setting her back. And, this will be another one broken down, shot down. And now nobody can say Trump was found liable for rape, which they've been using against him for years now. So absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So we're winning, guys. We're winning. And justice is happening. It's just sometimes slower than we want, but it's definitely coming. All right, please hit that like, hit that subscribe. Oh, we got one more segment coming up, guys, where we're going to break down the latest on the midterms and where we're headed in trends with the upcoming elections. But I do want to take a second, get into the chat, make sure I'm all caught up with you guys and not missing anything. Let's see here. Excuse me. Can you imagine if they put all this money into things they're supposed to, says Courtney Fossite, like roads, bridges, airports? Yeah, well, not only that, okay, which you're absolutely right. But also a lot of this money now just doesn't need to be spent. And now we can get it to the point where we are, like, once we figure out all the fraud and pull all the money back and say, this program's done, this program's done, this program's done, we cut it all off from fraud. Trump doesn't need Congress to do that. Cut all it off, all that outflow. And then what we can say is like, what do we have left? Oh yeah, this can go to infrastructure. This can go to this, things that we were told we don't have the money for. Yeah, it's incredible what we're seeing. Okie Sooner says, MAGA's had so much hopium through the years for justice arrests. We're just worn out with hopium, but still hoping I live to see it. Got 3 years in me. Give him the full 3 years. That's all I can tell you guys. If we don't see it by the end of Trump's term, then anybody can be critical and I won't push back. But what I'll say is that right now, these things take time. And I don't think people understood. By the way, hopium implies that it's not real, okay? And so I don't like the word hopium. I don't think that's true. Hope is a real thing. You can have hope without it being based on lies. So it's not hopium, it's just hope in general. But I don't think people realize how terrible the first administration was for Trump. And that does not mean he didn't get stuff done. That does not mean it was even a bad 4 years. By regular presidential standards, it was an amazing 4 years. What it means is that he was fought and undercut so much in the first term, he couldn't get nearly what he wanted to get done. He couldn't get it through. They were fighting him at every opportunity. And so it slowed them down significantly. And that's why a lot of people are like, you'll never get anything done. We have no idea the pushback he's had. Look at now, after winning a major election, way bigger than the first one, got the House and Senate, got won the popular vote easily, all of that, and restaffed better, 4 years to plan out, and now even still, he's fighting judges, he's fighting people embedded in the government. It's nonstop. That's how bad things are. And so when people are like, Trump's not getting stuff done, no, he is. It's just he's the fight these people are having is much bigger than most of us realize. It's not easy to do what they're doing. And that's why I get mad when people are like, oh, it's, dude, just do this. Like, it's not that simple. None of it is. Creep says, do I believe Alex Jones ever believed what he said, or was he always a fraud? Oh, man, I don't know. I've said a lot over the years, and I like to think that I did some good. I've been proven right a lot, but guys, I just got to tell you that I like the money. I really like the money. It's so good, and I just got to keep it up that I'm always against everybody all the time. That's what pays the bills around here. It's when it comes to Alex, he's definitely a fraud at this point. Was he ever good? I don't know, man. It's so hard to know. But I don't care, honestly. It doesn't matter. What matters is he bailed when it mattered most. He bailed when we're finally getting stuff done. He bailed when we're this close to winning. So I don't care. It doesn't matter why he turned, but he did. And we just can't let him back ever. We can't let him back. So Okie Center, you're fine, man. You're fine. I'm not trying to be hard on you. I'm just saying that the idea of hopium is not one I subscribe to. Let's see here. Somebody said we're heading into tribulation. No, we're not. Oh, man. I hate that psyop, but I understand a lot of good people still believe it. It's sad. Wop says, I think AJ believed a lot of it. I think he lived in conspiracy spheres for so long that's all he can see in anything. Maybe. But that doesn't give you an excuse to turn when it matters most, It just doesn't. You can't. I'll say this. You cannot trust somebody who never has hope. You cannot trust somebody who's willing to fight when it's time to fight. That's why as soon, I already kind of saw it, but even before, the nail in the coffin with Marjorie Taylor Greene was when she quit. Because true believers don't quit. True fighters don't quit. And so when Alex Jones chose whatever it is, whether it's money or fame or he's blackmailed, whatever it was, when he chose that, when we're actually in the fight finally, you lose. You just lose. So, and you can't be trusted. So that's how I look at it. All right, let's get into the last segment here. Excuse me. So looking ahead to the midterms, we are clearly getting the momentum. It's clearly on our side now. Everything they were trying to push about how this was unwinnable, we had no chance, that psyop is completely gone now, and they are panicked about it. Because now that we can even sniff the idea that we can win without it being just a distant hope, but it actually feels real, that's changing the entire game. And this is before all the good stuff that can happen in the next few months. As Brian Cates writes, Fox News trying to come to grips with the fact that redistricting on top of passing the SAVE Act, and he says it will pass, Trump's gaming it out. I'd love to see if he's right about that. Brian knows a lot of stuff. Says the severe coming restrictions on remote vote registration, remote mail-in voting, and the fact Tulsi's coming like the wrath of God with the 2020 election rigging evidence. By the time we get to July 4th, the outcome of the November midterms will not be in doubt. No way to keep building suspense to impeachment of Trump. No drama about if the GOP expands control. Ain't life grand. Now, that's a very interesting take based on all this momentum. What I agree with him on is that we have the momentum, and it's absolutely true. We're starting to see the media panic and the Democrats panic about it. Now, Trump was asked about redistricting and had this to say about what's been going on, which is just great.
Question on redistricting. To voters who are confused about the changing maps, the changing dates, and to African Americans concerned that this is going to draw black members of Congress off the map, what do you say?
Well, I think it's been a wonderful process. They've been the Democrats, or as I call the Democrats, because they are dumb in so many ways. They've redistricted for years, and now we took our shot, and it looks like we're going to pick up a lot of seats, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We want voters to have their choice. We want fair voting. We want fair elections. The Democrats have been cheating on elections for many years, and all we're doing is winning. Thank you. Excuse me, sir.
All we're doing is winning. I love that. Listen, Trump knows, okay? He's not afraid. And the fact that he's like so bold about it. Now, this is what I love. He has been saying this from the beginning, all right? And especially since 2020. And this is one of the main things people hold against him, even people in the middle. Oh, we love Trump, but he's wrong about the elections. Just wait till he's vindicated on this. When he gets vindicated about the election cheating, and especially 2020, but in general, when we see all this stuff taken away from the Democrats and they end up getting bushwhacked, basically just stomped on, it's going to expose so much. And it goes, again, like he said, the Democrats been cheating for years and now it feels good. We're winning. With the demographics and the election changes, we're going to be winning for a long time. And Trump knows it. And then on top of that, the vindication of him being proven right on this is also going to add another layer that's going to knock them back significantly in the future, because it's going to bring over a lot of people in the middle who've been holding this against Trump for a long time. Now, earlier, I just shared Brian Cates saying that SAVE Act's going to pass. Well, we're about to get the House vote on it. Speaker Johnson put it on the schedule for a House vote next week. Chip Roy says we're calling on Leader Thune to change the filibuster and force what we call a talking filibuster to get it passed. It'll ensure voter ID citizen requirement. Let's get it passed. Now, are we going to see it pass the House? Yes, it'll pass the House. Is Thune going to do the filibuster? Probably not. But I will tell you, there's a better chance now than there was last week. Because, again, Indiana terrified these people. Terrified them. And if we get a talking filibuster, it's going to pass. It's going to take a while because the Democrats are going to filibuster for as long as they can. It might take weeks. But it'll eventually happen. They'll run out of gas. This is, in my opinion, the closest we've been. So hang in there. There is hope for the Save America Act to pass. And if the Save America Act passes, along with the VRA being struck down, along with the mail-in ballots going to get struck down, which I'm 80 to 90% confident Supreme Court's going to strike down the mail-in ballots being counted after Election Day. That's going to hurt them so bad. If you remember back in 2024, we didn't know the results of the House for 3 days after the election. We didn't know in California and a couple other states stole seats for about 5, 10, 15 days after the election, counting votes, keep finding what we need to get them. That will be gone after the Supreme Court strikes that down. So even without the Save America Act, it's going to be easier for us to win than it's been in a long time. But if they pass the Save America Act, it's over for a very long time, especially now that Rasmussen, which is one of the best pollsters out there, one of the only ones I actually trust for the most part, has it now at 50-50 Democrats and Republicans for the midterms. Guys, this is no longer Democrats running away with it. And think about how crazy this is. They don't have the gas prices are high right now, so that's a knock against Trump. People are frustrated with Iran. That's a knock against the Republicans. Republicans haven't gotten anything passed in months that matters, that the people care about. That's a knock against the Republicans. They just ran the entire Epstein psyop. That's a knock against Republicans, the Trump administration. And with all of that happening, oh yeah, we also lost some of our biggest influencers who are supposed to be on our side, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly. With all of that happening, we're back to 50-50. And looking ahead, we still have end of the Iran war, which patriotism, we won. Yeah, feels great. Lower gas prices once that happens. Oh yeah, Trump's getting it done. Amazing. July 4th, patriotism, baby. What's Trump going to do? Make us feel good about being Americans. Economic numbers continuing to go up the next few months as the policies kick in more and more. Yeah, I would say this is terrifying to the Democrats. Absolutely terrifying to them. Now, in all this, we got Mike Pence starting to come back in the picture. I think Republicans should do soul searching before 2028. We're at a time of choosing. After his party just got shellacked in Indiana, which was the party he built. Sorry, Pensy, you suck. Kate says this now. You understand why he's coming out and saying this now after what happened? A GOP uniparty stopped Trump at all costs in Indiana. You understand why he's babbling this? He sees where it's headed. GOP uniparty people were hoping they'd have defanged MAGA beasts by now, and their GOP party incumbents were safe, and MAGA challengers were going to be turned away. Supposed to start in Indiana. The reverse happened. Everybody worried about rhinos? Oh, the rhinos are scared, friends. They're scared. Here's this prick coming out and trying to encourage increasingly nervous GOP to defect to MAGA and remember the principles. Pence, guys, they were so hopeful. So hopeful they were going to get a GOPer back in 2028. They thought once Trump's gone, we're getting it back, and MAGA just showed them, no, we're here to stay. And now they're panicking. And that, so it's not just the Democrats, they're panicking too. And guys, what's happening here is increasing the momentums here, and it's also starting to spread. The people are waking up. And in Britain, we just had an absolute tidal wave hit their elections. 1,500 seats were lost in the current political elites, the people running the country over there, Keir Starmer's party. Populist reform, almost as many seats as the main party combined. So the reformers have now taken control of Britain. We'll see how it lasts. You know, in the past, they got Brexit, didn't last very long. They never fully pulled away. But the people are trying. They're trying. And it's all because of what Trump's doing here. That worldwide, we're seeing major differences. So coming back here, guys, at this point, if this is 50-50 right here, the real odds for the Republicans to hold the House now are about 70-75%. And we're feeling better about it by the day. So let's keep an eye on what happens with Iran, because the sooner that happens, the more quickly this is going to accelerate and start trending in the Republicans' direction. We have nothing to be afraid of this year, guys. If we show up, we win. And that I feel very confident about. We're winning. It's not just here, it's everywhere. The momentum is back. And once this election's won, you're going to see them freak out like never before. You thought 2024 was bad? This is their last hope. So I'm ready because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. All right. Please hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thank you guys for watching today. Let's take a couple minutes, just see what's in the chat before calling it a day here. Holy Smoke says, if Trump can prove 2020 election rigging, could you make the SAVE Act an executive order? Maybe temporarily, but only as long as he's president. But I think even the Supreme Court might strike that one down because it does say the states can control their elections. So I do think Congress might have to act on that one. But he's going to try. He's already done a couple executive orders similar to it. You know, he has, but they're going to fight it as much as they can. Nikki asks, what if Trump's China visit ties directly to the end of the Iran war? He waited to visit for this exact moment. I think it's very possible. That's all I can say. I think it's possible. Holy Smoke says, I think people are inspired by Trump's unworldly courage, taking out dictators, only person to tackle Iran. 100%. 100%. So I totally agree with you guys on that. Don says BBB had months worth of legislation all in one bill, so it looks like they did nothing. That is part of it. Yeah. And Trump knew that, which is why he wanted it all in one bill. He knew it, and so he used his political power when it was at its highest point to force the Republicans to do it. Stephen Webb says, not going to lie, I didn't support Trump in 16 or 20 because of rhinos, and in 24 I voted for the first time in my life because they shot at him. Well, welcome to the awakening, friend. Welcome to the awakening. Trump is not a deep state plan, 100%. I'm glad you woke up, brother. See? The awakening's real, folks. It's real. Kev says, Trump's absolutely inspiring people in other countries. Fight and take back your country. From the evil deep state globalists, look what's happening in Ireland and UK. 100%. Yep. All right, guys. Well, on that note, we're going to end in a prayer as always, and then I got to get going. So went long today, but had a great time. But it's my daughter's 16th birthday. Sweet 16. So this guy, since I'm the one home now, I got to go clean the house before my wife and kids get back and the people come over. So I have stuff I got to do today. So, pray my daughter has a great birthday. But thank you guys all for the support. Thank you guys for watching. Please, if you're not already a member, consider it. Go into the description, click the Patreon link. You get a free month. There is literally no risk at all. Free month to try out the Discord, see if you love the community, want to be a part of it, and also to try out some of the members' content, see what you think about that. Members, I will be having a live for you very soon. This is my first week on the new schedule, so I'm getting used to it, but members' lives are coming, and they will soon be a regular thing again. Also, classes are coming. So for those interested in classes, there will be an option for you to take classes. I'm going to be having a business class. Well, it's just like a more general success business class. And then also a theological class I'll be teaching in the membership. So things to check out, plenty going on in there soon. So join the membership. It's a great time to join. Get your free month to try it all out. And would love to have you be a part of it. So God bless you guys. Thank you for watching. And let's pray. But before you leave, like and subscribe for sure. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. God bless all these amazing people, these patriots, Lord, here watching this channel. And I know it's because they believe in our country and what's possible. And I thank you for that. So bless each and every one of them, Lord, today and their days. Father, bless President Trump. We pray protection, wisdom, and discernment and boldness in everything he does, Lord, so he can handle the most impossible problems in the most unlikely and amazing ways with solutions. We pray for everybody around him, God, fighting for the same, that the same happens, Lord, that they are protected and given wisdom as well. And Father, we pray for more exposure, that all the plants, all the disruptors, all the corrupt would be exposed in this country. All the fraud would be uncovered so that we can get our country back on track, fully knowing where we're actually at and having dealt with those who need to be dealt with. And Father, we pray for our country, for more peace, justice, and prosperity to come than ever before, so we can truly see the golden age that I believe is possible and actually on its way. We pray that, Lord, that we leave a better country than ever to our kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids. and that they can have a better America to grow up in than we did. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Love you guys. Have a blessed day. Thank you all for being a part of this. Hit the like and subscribe on your way out, and I'll see you all tomorrow. God bless.
Headlines screaming like a siren at night. Red and blue shouting, nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight. Matchsticks flicked in the dead of night. They